This page is the cover of Nintendo Dream Magazine Volume 88, dated May 6, 2003. The cover features page N.03 prominently, with the title in large, bold letters. It also mentions Soul Calibur 2, Dragon Quest Monsters, Caravan Heart, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past and Four Swords, Metroid Prime, and Made in Wario. There's a mention of a dream dialogue between Shinji Mikami and Kazunori Ida. A special GameCube software perfect catalog is advertised, along with a bonus Brave Strap 2 and GB Advance LCD cleaner. The next page is a full-page advert for Zoid Saga 2, a Game Boy Advance RPG scheduled for release on April 18th. It highlights the appearance of popular characters and the inclusion of over 140 Zoids, including Giga and Blocks. Customization options are emphasized, along with enhanced deck commands and battle systems. The advert also mentions a limited edition Bloody Death Soarer statue and promotes the GameCube title Zoids Versus. The next page is a full-page advertisement for Naruto, Clash of Ninja for the Nintendo GameCube. It showcases the fighting game's characters, including Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Sakura. The game features intense ninja battles with super flashy special moves and the promise of a great ninja experience. The game was scheduled to be released on April 11th, with the suggested retail price of 6,800 yen. The first edition copies come with a Naruto-themed drawstring pouch. The page also advertises Naruto, Ninja Council for the Game Boy Advance, a side-scrolling action game set to release on May 1, 2003 for 4,800 yen. This page is an advertisement for Giftpia on the Nintendo GameCube. It features an island with quirky characters and text bubbles with humorous dialogue. The release date is April 25th with a price of 5,800 yen. As a first edition bonus, the game includes an original flower strap gift. This page from Nintendo Dream, dated 2003, Volume 88, features a contents overview and game index. The contents page highlights a dream interview between Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida, a feature on the GameCube and Game Boy Advance versions of Bokuju Monogatari, also known as Story of Seasons or Harvest Moon, including developer interviews, a celebration of 100 GameCube titles, Capcom Special on page N.03, Beautiful Joe, Dragon Quest Monsters, Caravan Heart, Fire Emblem, The Blazing Blade, Soul Calibur 2, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past and Four Swords, Made in Wario, Metroid Prime, Giftpia, Rune 2, The Secret of Colton, Tales of Fantasia, plus a special extra, Hero Strap 2. The Game Index lists GameCube titles with their page numbers, including Giftpia, Jikyu Powerful Pro Yakyu, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, Sonic Adventure DX, Animal Crossing Plus, Dokapon DX, Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, page N.03, Beautiful Joe, Metroid Prime, and Rune 2. The Game Boy Advance section includes games like Angel Collection, Meza Maze, Gakuen, No Fashion Leader, Castlevania, Ajuria of Sorrow, Summon Nightcraft Sword Story, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past and Four Swords, Zoid Saga 2, Tales of Fantasia, Dragon Quest Monsters, Caravan Heart, Fire Emblem, The Blazing Blade, Harvest Moon, Mineral Town and Metaro 2 Core. The magazine also features regular segments, such as reader questions, monthly news, a Mario fan club, developer interviews, and more, with information and articles on various titles. This page is an advert for guidebooks for the Game Boy Advance games Wario and The Legend of Zelda, both scheduled for release in April. The first section covers The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Four Swords, priced at 760 yen. It boasts complete coverage of both games, including field and dungeon strategies, with a focus on maps and solutions. A large poster is included. The second section is for Made in Wario, which is priced at 1,200 yen. It aims to provide the shortest strategies for the minigames. It also reveals the origins of some of the minigames and offers tips for two-player battles. This page is a reader's giveaway from Nintendo Dream. One lucky winner can win a Nintendo GameCube console, available in various colors. Another lucky winner can receive a Game Boy Advance SP, also available in different colors. Another winner will win a Game Boy Player accessory in their choice of color. 2 winners can get a Sonic X poster and tumbler set. 3 winners will receive an autographed shikishi calligraphy board from Shinji Mikami, Hiroyuki Kobayashi, and Kazutoshi Ida. 1 winner will receive their choice of GameCube game released by April 15th. 1 winner can get their choice of Game Boy Advance game released by April 15th. 1 winner will get a Wavebird wireless controller. 3 people will each win a Mr. Driller Pass case. 1 winner can win the GameCube game Dokapon DX, The World is Overrun by Oni. 3 winners can get Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town for the Game Boy Advance. 3 winners can receive Zoid Saga 2 for the Game Boy Advance. 10 winners can each win a Power Pro Kun Pocket Special Eraser. The deadline for entries is May 2, 2003. This month's Nintendo Content Overview highlights upcoming game releases and events leading up to Golden Week, around April 24-25. Notable titles include Fire Emblem, The Blazing Blade, and Giftpia. The April Nintendo Dreambook issue, featuring Beautiful Joe stickers, is available at Nintendo retailers. Other releases include Dokapon DX, Naruto, Ninja Council, and more. The monthly news section also covers GameCube and Game Boy Advance titles, including the Nintendo Dreambook 2003 Spring issue. Events like Game Jam Storm are listed alongside game releases, including the final game, Kanji Boy 3 on May 2nd. Handheld accessories and the Shikoku Pilgrimage game series are also advertised. This page showcases the top 20 best-selling Nintendo software titles from March 10th to March 23rd, along with a separate ranking of the top 20 most anticipated upcoming titles as voted by readers. The best-selling games chart is dominated by Game Boy Advance titles, with The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past and Four Swords taking the top spot, followed by Wario Land 4. Other popular games include Yu-Gi-Oh!, Duel Monsters 8, Pokemon Sapphire/Ruby, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and Metroid Fusion. The most anticipated upcoming games list is topped by Kirby Air Ride for the GameCube. Other highly anticipated titles include Animal Crossing 2, Mario Kart GC, Pikmin 2, and F-Zero GC, all for the GameCube. There is also an analysis of GBA and GBA-SP sales trends, indicating the GBA-SP is still in short supply. Sales data shows a decline in GBA-SP sales in early March, but a rebound later in the month. The GBA-SP is positioned as a premium model, while the regular GBA maintains stable sales. This page from a Nintendo magazine reveals the top third-party game developers most anticipated by readers for their Nintendo GameCube and Game Boy Advance titles. Capcom takes the top spot with 284 points. Readers are excited for their support of Nintendo and original GC titles. Comments highlight anticipation for titles like Beautiful Joe, Dead Phoenix, Killer 7, and Resident Evil 4. Namco is second with 147 points. Readers look forward to collaborations with Nintendos like Star Fox, New Tales, games, and titles across genres, including Mr. Driller and Mojipitan. Planned releases include Tales of Fantasia, GBA, Tales Series, GC, and Star Fox, GC. Square ranks third with 128 points. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, GC, and Sword of Mana, GBA, are the most anticipated titles. Reader comments express excitement for the graphics in Sword of Mana and enjoyment of the 4-player FFCC. The page mentions FFCC and Sword of Mana are set to be the games of the summer. The next page reveals the next group of popular third-party developers ranked by readers of the magazine. Sega ranks fourth with 91 points, with readers excited about arcade and home console integration with titles like F-Zero. Comments mention the high quality of their software development. Upcoming titles include Sonic Adventure DX, GC, Shining Soul 2, GBA, and Virtual Fighter Quest, Temp, GC. Konami ranks 5th with 67 points. Readers look forward to sports games and Goemon titles, with many expressing desire for more high-quality sports games like Power Pro and Winning 11. Upcoming titles include Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow, GBA, Frogger, GC, and Boktai, GBA. The next group of developers, ranked 6th and below, are also spotlighted, including Victor Interactive Software, Enix, Bandai, From Software, and Chunsoft. Readers voice their opinions on these companies and their games, such as Harvest Moon, GC, and Star Ocean, GC. A section titled Minority Opinions, Voices Supporting Development Companies, highlights readers' support and love for developers. Some comments include mentions of games like Treasure's Sin and Punishment, and Ikaruga, HAL Laboratories Mother 3. Finally, the page advertises the Reverse Zelda giveaway campaign for those who pre-ordered Wind Waker, discussing the details and opinions surrounding the promotion. Readers voted for Nintendo GameCube remakes, with the Mother series topping the list due to desire for remakes of difficult-to-obtain early entries. The Legend of Zelda series ranked second, with requests for remakes of the original Famicom versions. The Mario series followed in third, with interest in 2D remakes and Super Mario Bros. On the GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Other popular choices included Super Mario RPG, Kirby, Fire Emblem, Donkey Kong, Yoshi's Egg, and Mario Kart. Readers also expressed interest in collaborations, sequels, and additional content for these titles. A minority of votes sought remakes of obscure games. The next page discusses the possibility of Nintendo characters appearing in games from other companies, following Link's appearance in Soul Calibur 2. The article presents opinions on potential character crossovers, dividing them into 4 themes. One popular suggestion is to have Mario series characters appear in Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog games. Readers also suggest characters like Captain Falcon from F-Zero in Beautiful Joe, or using characters like Kirby and Fox McCloud in titles from other companies. The article then presents the opinions on what age is appropriate for mature games, like Biohazard Zero, Resident Evil Zero, and Eternal Darkness. A survey of readers from Nindori Volume 76 reveals that the majority, 13 years old and above, believe that they should be above middle schoolers. Pie charts show that 25% of respondents don't care, 1% saying 6 years old and above, 14% saying 10 years and above, 27% saying 13 years and above, 19% saying 16 years and above, and 10% saying 18 years old and above. The article stresses the importance of respecting the character's world. The next page of Nintendo Dream Monthly focuses on the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, specifically the anime series Sonic X. The article highlights the start of the broadcast, mentions the series is airing on TV Tokyo every Sunday at 8:30 a.m., and includes a picture of Sonic and Chris. The article indicates that 2003 is going to be Sonic's year, with new Sonic games in development. A photo shows Naka Yuji from Sonic Team speaking at a presentation. The Sonic Team is supervising the anime, with director Kamegaki Hajime aiming for high-quality animation. It features the TV animation series Sonic X. The show's first episode is previewed with stills, showing Sonic in action. The article also features models of familiar characters such as Tails, Amy, Cream, Shadow, Rouge, Knuckles, Big the Cat, and Dr. Eggman. The team working on the project are listed, including members of Run and Gun, and composer Hironobu Kageyama. This page features the Super Mario Sunshine Digital Content Grand Prize, awarded by the Digital Content Association of Japan. The winner was Yasuhiro Kojima. There are images of Kojima receiving the award. Also featured is news about the GBA game Plaster World, with the TV anime adaptation also starting, featuring characters and promotional artwork. The page also highlights Animal Crossing merchandise, including plushies and keychains, featuring characters like Cap'n, Mr. Rossetti, and KK Slider. The plushies are available at Little Bear Shop, located in Tokyo. This page starts with news about the board game Catan, which is now being sold in bookstores. There was a Catan tournament, and it seems like it was a big deal. Catan is described as a board game for 34 players. Next, it mentions the DVD release of the anime Kirby, Right Back at Ya! Oshi no Kirby, Second Season Volume 2, which includes episodes 2527 and bonus footage from the American broadcast. It also has memorable scenes from the GB game, Kirby's Dream Land 2. There is also promotion for the Kirby anime airing on CBC per tablespoon every Saturday at 7:30 a.m., with a spotlight on episode 78 airing on April 12th, titled Escargon Robo. Moving on, there's a section highlighting new demos available in stores, featuring Naruto for GameCube. The demo disc also includes trailers for Naruto, Giftpia, PN.03, Soul Calibur 2, Beautiful Joe, and Dokapon DX. There's also a feature on new GBA software coming out in spring, including MarioWare Inc., The Legend of Zelda, Four Swords, Dragon Quest Monsters, and Fire Emblem. Finally, it advertises the Soul Calibur 2 mobile site, where you can get ringtones and wallpapers. The next page starts with, Mario Club recommends these two games, with reviews from Mario Club. The first game is Soul Calibur 2 for GameCube. The reviewer praises its graphics, character animations, and variety of game modes. The reviewer also notes the special feature of Link from The Legend of Zelda being a playable character. The second game is Summon Knight, Craft Sword Story for Game Boy Advance. The reviewer mentions the choice of main character and Guardian Beast, which affects the story and ending. In the news section, Marvelous Entertainment has made Victor Interactive a subsidiary. Victor Interactive is known for Harvest Moon, and both companies will continue focusing on game development, including a new Harvest Moon for the GameCube. There's also a section about a limited edition of Fire Emblem, Rekka no Ken, Fire Emblem. It includes a soundtrack, CD, and a desk calendar as pre-order bonuses. Another news item announces that Takara and Atlus have formed a capital and business alliance, as both companies aim to strengthen their entertainment offerings. The page also includes a comic strip featuring Link traveling to an event, and the 210th Street Nintendo fan event, and photos of cosplayers at the event. This page features a special project interview between Shinji Mikami, director of Capcom's 4th Development Department, known for the Resident Evil series, and Kazutoshi Ida, a game creator known for games like Aquanauts Holiday and Tale of the Sun. The interview is titled, Dream Dialogue. The blurb highlights that Ida expressed interest in talking to Mikami, and the interview took place after the completion of PN.03, not at Capcom's headquarters in Osaka, but at a yakiniku restaurant in Shibuya. They got so engrossed in conversation that they barely ate anything. The next page continues the Dream Dialogue interview, featuring Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida, held at the Soul of Seoul Oriental Grill restaurant in Shibuya. The photo shows Mikami standing and Ida sitting, with the restaurant's interior visible in the background. This page continues the Dream Dialogue interview, with Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida. Mikami mentions that there are many people with AB blood type in the 4th Development Division, and that he himself is also AB. The interview touches on various topics, including Ida's earlier struggles with Invisible, a game mode where zombies are invisible. They discuss the item box system and its dimensionality, and Ida mentions his involvement in the Biohazard 2 research book. Ida expresses his love for zombies and talks about writing about it. Mikami reflects on the size of his development team, mentioning that it has 120 staff members. He touches upon the rules of the 4th Development Division, emphasizing a win-win mentality. He expresses that he prefers working with smaller teams, as it allows for more director control and attention to detail. They discuss the differences between working in a large organization versus a smaller one, and Mikami states that he felt most satisfied when working with teams of around 10-11 people. They briefly mention game creators meeting up and exchanging ideas, and Ida mentions his location in Tokyo compared to Mikami in Osaka. Costume changes in the games are mentioned, and Ida says the costume change for Jill is his favorite, particularly the third outfit. Finally, the interview mentions the 5-game announcement event from the previous year, including Beautiful Joe. The next page continues the interview with Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida. Mikami says he prefers working with smaller teams, as it is easier to manage and maintain control. He mentions that it's easier to get everyone together in a small space and communicate effectively. He also mentions that having a smaller team creates a sense of camaraderie. The two discuss the concept of games with a severe world, with Ida noting how things can get chaotic when deadlines approach. They mention mental health and the importance of maintaining quality by allowing staff to take breaks. Mikami talks about the high percentage of AB blood types within the 4th Development Division. They joke about potential connections to Umbrella from Biohazard. Ida says that he is type of blood, and Mikami says that he has been a fan of Biohazard for a long time. There are also notes in the side panels with additional information about blood types in Japan, Dino Crisis 2, and producers versus directors. This page features a dialogue between Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida, discussing the life of creators. They touch on the idea that creators' wives might be unhappy due to the demanding nature of the job. Mikami jokes about creators being human trash. They also discuss the energy required for creativity and how it impacts personal life, private life becomes difficult, and energy is spent on creativity. Ida comments on raising children in zoos. Mikami agrees that it's not good. They briefly touch upon balancing work and family, with some employees prioritizing their projects over family life. The conversation moves to their personal experiences, with Ida claiming he's always stressed, and Mikami claiming he's too stressed to know. They joke about the stress of deadlines, especially with the constant demands. The discussion shifts to the topic of the golden generation of creators born around 1965, including Keiji Inafune, Tetsuya Mizuguchi, Toshihiro Nagoshi, and Yuji Naka. Mikami reflects on what defines a creator's talent.
The page also has an image of Shinji Mikami with a Mega Man toy.
Lastly, there is a header that says, "During growth periods, absorb great things." This page delves deeper into the qualities of a creator. The discussion revolves around the idea that a creator's talent is often determined by the time they finish middle school. Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida discuss their creative upbringings and influences. Mikami mentions watching TV despite parental restrictions, leading to his early exposure to Kamen Rider. He feels that creators from their era had a unique advantage, experiencing the raw passion poured into the creations of that time. Mikami elaborates on how a creator's work is like cooking, taking raw ingredients that have been cultivated over nearly 20 years and turning them into something delicious for others to enjoy. The conversation touches upon Mikami's past projects, including Beautiful Joe and Killer 7.
He highlights that he wants to create something that he likes.
Mikami talks about the development process of Beautiful Joe, stating that the project was not originally a game, but it was an idea he had before he joined the company. Ida brings up Blackjack ni Yoroshiku, and says they are friends, and he likes the word Yoroshiku. Lastly, Mikami is asked about the PN.03, and replies, it is not in the top 5. Pictures on the page include a headshot of Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida. It also features a shot of the Beautiful Joe director. The next page features an interview with Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida about the state of the Japanese game industry. Mikami claims that Japanese games are losing to Western games and that they are going to run out of assets. Mikami claims that there is too much emphasis on numbers and sales, and that the company pressures creation of games, and says that if it won't sell, it's no good. Ida comments on the growth and the current landscape of the game industry, to which Mikami replies, for example with Resident Evil, if you include too much violence, then people complain. Ida replies that games are being recognized more by the public. Mikami claims that he has to produce a certain level of satisfaction to keep his job. The page mentions Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. Also, Blackjack and Macaroni Horenzo.
Mikami mentions that old PlayStation had beautiful images.
Mikami states that Hollywood movies are fine, but European and Korean movies are also good. Ida mentions creative activites and said, the bottom line is, we have to make a profit. Images on the page include a close-up of Shinji Mikami pointing his finger, and a shot of a guy eating noodles while drinking what looks like an alcoholic beverage. The next page continues the interview with Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida. Mikami states that Japanese games are losing to Western games and that they're running out of assets. He also states that the CM impression is that people buy games. Ida mentions that creative activities are being overtaken and that the users are thinking, I don't know, but I bought it. He mentions that the industry puts too much emphasis on numbers and sales, and that the company pressures creation of games, and says that if it won't sell, it's no good. Ida states that he likes the game Resident Evil, but doesn't know the difference between Western and Eastern. He mentions that the game Resident Evil is a Western game. Ida also mentions a game called Body X. Mikami claims that people are like, if you take the stairs, you'll be healthy. The page features a picture of Shinji Mikami and a screenshot from the game Metroid Prime. The next page contains a dream interview with Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida. They discuss challenging games and that players prefer easier games, and that it would be great to make games with a sense of accomplishment. They also discuss remaking Resident Evil.
Ida mentions working as a director on PN.03 and his plans to return to the field, requesting time off to relax. Mikami talks about needing time to reset as a creator, feeling burdened by too much information. They touch on the importance of teamwork and the unique qualities that come from collaboration. The page also features a photo of Ida smiling, wearing glasses, and a quote in large text. I used to be able to enjoy making games more. This page continues the dream interview with Shinji Mikami and Kazutoshi Ida. Mikami states that if no one else will do it,
He feels he has to do it himself. He says that automation can cause issues in game development. He prefers smaller teams of around 10 people, as larger teams can become difficult to manage and result in conflict. Ida mentions that the Gakuten Seiban, Phoenix Wright, team was very happy. They discuss the Resident Evil/Biohazard team and how it grew from 1 to 50 people. They touch on the importance of the team's passion and the desire to create something interesting. Mikami reveals that the scene with the returning zombie in the original Biohazard left a lasting impression on him and was traumatic. Ida humorously admits his love for Tsunku Mailsign, a famous music producer, mentioning that he has been a fan since Morning Musume. Ida expresses his admiration for the music producer's work.
Mikami and Ida briefly touch on the topic of E3, with Mikami expressing his reservations about attending. The interview includes a photo of Ida and various footnotes referencing people and games mentioned. The final footnote mentions the name of Atsushi Inaba of Clover Studio as the producer of Beautiful Joe and Phoenix Wright. The next page continues the Dream interview, focusing on the game PN.03. Ida, who hasn't played it yet, joins the conversation. The interviewers describe it as a hardcore shooting game. Mikami observes that Ida's playstyle is the opposite of the game's design and asks if he's playing on easy mode. Kobayashi, the producer, explains the controls. They discuss the influence of the classic shooting game, Xevious, on page N.03, and creating a new game with old-school fun, and how development time was very short. Ida humorously mentions a recent update where he wanted zombies to be stronger in a Biohazard game. He jokes about the game being too easy and reflects on his age affecting his reflexes and shooting abilities. They mention how they have to avoid getting hit by enemy attacks. The team mentions that the game features X button and explains how to dodge bullets, and that they might get the common feeling of being trapped by enemies. Ida states how he wants to play more. He also discusses how he would like a game set up like a horror film, and asks if there is a story or anything like it. The game's development team state how they want the story kept hidden so that people do not know what to expect and are more surprised. This page is an interview with the developers discussing PN.03. They talk about the motion capture used for Vanessa's character and how they removed her gun to focus on dance-like movements. The designer did dance research to create the movements. The team shares insights into the game's appeal, particularly the satisfying feeling of the shooting and the nostalgia for classic shooting games. There's mention of hidden suits and some scrapped content, like a Kujira enemy. They debate the game's difficulty and suggest that people play on easy mode if they're struggling. This page is an advertisement for PN.03, a shooting action game for the Nintendo GameCube. It highlights the game's thrilling combat and focus on stylish maneuvers to evade enemy attacks. The ad reveals a new suit for the main character, Vanessa, called Papillon, noting its revealing design and potential special abilities that can be unlocked under certain conditions. The game is priced at 5,800 yen. The next page is a feature on the game PN.03 and its Aegis suit and energy drive systems. The Aegis suit is the combat suit worn by the protagonist Vanessa. Initially, there is only one type, but the number of suits increases as you progress through missions. Each suit offers different attack and defense power and has unique energy drives. Strategic suit selection based on the mission is crucial. Energy drives are activated by inputting commands with the D-P-A-D and a button. Using an energy drive grants temporary invincibility. Each suit has a different energy drive gauge, performance, and command input. The page also discusses powering up in the shop using points earned by defeating enemies to upgrade suits and purchase new ones. The article highlights the Prima Blazer suit, noting its focus on attack power and the need for precise evasion due to its low defense. There's a screenshot of the game's item shop menu. A small blurb mentions Beautiful Joe as a bonus feature, with footage accessible from the main menu. A final note mentions a Blackbird suit, shrouded in mystery. This page is a guide to mastering the basics in page N.03, focusing on techniques to evade enemy attacks. It details two control schemes, Type A and Type B,
encouraging players to find the one that suits their playstyle. The first technique emphasizes avoiding attacks preemptively, especially fast-moving lasers, by using sidesteps when enemies aim their cannons. The second technique involves utilizing the environment, like hiding behind pillars or in dips, to evade attacks in tight spaces. The third technique is about dodging homing missiles by timing a forward jump just as they get close. The final technique covers using energy drives effectively, noting they grant invincibility and are potent for clearing rooms. The page includes screenshots demonstrating each technique. The next page provides a walkthrough for Mission 1 of page N.03, focusing on the normal difficulty. It starts by emphasizing the importance of getting used to the game's controls. The guide then offers tips for navigating the level. It details how to handle specific rooms, such as room 0421, where players need to decide which path to take. Going through the white door is the quicker route, while the orange door leads to a dead end but offers full health and energy recovery items. The guide also gives advice for room 0921, warning about giant lasers that can instantly kill the player. It recommends crouching in front of the dips to avoid the lasers. For the final encounter in room 2121, against the boss Sonnenblume, the guide advises staying mobile and avoiding the boss's giant laser attacks. It also mentions the use of the Swan energy drive and gives instructions for activation. This page continues the walkthrough, now covering Mission 2 of page N.03. The goal is to destroy the energy furnace within the enemy facility. The guide advises players to first tackle the trial mission to earn points for powering up Vanessa's suit in the shop. Remember to save your progress. Room 0711 focuses on combat in a room with tiered levels, prioritizing defeating enemies on lower levels first before advancing. Room 0511 highlights obstacles that can be destroyed, emphasizing the importance of using transparent pillars for cover while being cautious as they can be destroyed. Room 1111 explains how to evade the giant laser using sidesteps once the barrier is down. It mentions you can destroy the energy furnace in one shot with the Narrated drive. Room 0611 offers tips for dodging the laser traps. The page also introduces the Gullwing energy drive, activated with left pointing arrow, right pointing arrow plus A, which deals damage at close range but with lower attack power. This page contains a walkthrough for Mission 3 of page N.03. The objective is to defeat the Sonnenblume, and it advises buying continues beforehand and to consider the Prima Blazer suit. Room 0419 advises taking out enemies one by one and using walls to dodge lasers. There are laser traps, and tips are given on how to jump over them, along with locations of recovery items. Room 1419 explains using walls to dodge lasers from turrets and prioritizes taking out enemies on high ground. Room 1919 focuses on the Sonnenblume battle itself, noting its core as the weak point, and recommends destroying the 5 turrets beforehand to make the fight easier. It suggests using sidesteps and cautioning against the giant laser attack. The page introduces the Falcon energy drive, activated with down pointing arrow, right pointing arrow plus a Kase, which unleashes a rotating beam attack. The next page continues the walkthrough for page N.03, focusing on Mission 4. It mentions that 3 new suits can be acquired: Intera Blazer, Swan, and Pegasus Pro. Room 0106 gives advice for dealing with attacks from above, with tips on dodging lasers and taking out enemies. Room 0206 warns of incoming light orbs and light pillar attacks from enemies, suggesting sidestepping and staying outside the light pillars to avoid damage. Room 0306 advises using energy drives liberally in a large area filled with fast enemies, particularly the Swan energy drive, and mentions the location of recovery items, and continues. Room 0606 guides players through a unit transfer area where they must fight numerous enemies in a confined space, suggesting the use of the Swan to wipe out the enemies and recover energy drive gauge and move right. The page also introduces the Tengu energy drive, activated with left pointing arrow, down pointing arrow plus A, which grants temporary invincibility after the animation ends. The next page continues the walkthrough for page N.03, guiding players through Mission 5. The objective is to destroy the CAM's command tower. The walkthrough suggests using the Intera Blazer suit due to its high shot power. Room 0810 deals with the Galdernay enemy in a narrow passage. recommending players use alcoves to dodge attacks. In room 10 out of 10, the goal is to destroy the core at the top of a cylindrical room while dealing with turrets, advising the use of Swan to quickly destroy them. Room 0210 recommends using the Swan to instantly kill the Weissbilk enemy. Room 0710 points players towards a shop for items. A reviewer shares their thoughts on the game, praising its classic shooting gameplay, with the protagonist Vanessa showcasing various poses. They found it surprisingly hardcore and enjoyable. The director Shinji Mikami also gives a comment, calling it a hardcore shooter, and mentioning the surprising fun of rapid-fire shooting. This page is a full-page advertisement for the Beautiful Joe game on Nintendo GameCube. The release date and price are confirmed for June 12th at 6,800 yen. The game is described as a VFX action title, where the player embodies Joe within a movie world to create cool actions using VFX power. The next page shows a promotional spread for the Nintendo GameCube game, Beautiful Joe. It highlights 3 key abilities: slow, Mach speed, and zoom. Screenshots accompany each ability, showcasing how Joe utilizes them in combat. The text emphasizes the exhilarating feeling of controlling Joe and executing stylish action sequences. The game's director, Hideki Kamiya, is featured, mentioning his previous work on Resident Evil 2 and Devil May Cry, emphasizing his commitment to creating stylish and enjoyable action games. This page continues the coverage of Beautiful Joe. It focuses on the slow ability and how it can be used to manipulate time and solve puzzles. The page shows examples of how slow can be used to control slot machines to get power-ups, navigate dangerous areas with traps, and manipulate platforms with propellers. The bottom part of the page shows a scene from the game's story, with Joe and his girlfriend Sylvia at a movie theater. Captain Blue, a hero, faces defeat by the evil organization Shadow. The next page of the magazine continues to explain the slow ability in Beautiful Joe and the advantages of using it. It highlights how slow can be used to easily dodge a giant axe and even turn enemies into hamburgers. The page details how using slow on bombs increases their blast radius. The bottom of the page shows a comic panel from the game's storyline, where Joe witnesses Sylvia being captured by the Shadow organization, leading him to transform into a superhero to save her. This page is an advertisement for Soul Calibur 2 on the Nintendo GameCube, focusing on the inclusion of Link from the Legend of Zelda series as a guest character. The text promotes Link as a unique character, delving into the Weapon Master mode and his special moves. It highlights the enjoyment players can experience by mastering Link's gameplay, even if they have already completed the game's other modes. The page also states that playing Link in the game will immerse you in his lore and story if you read it in the museum mode. The next page, titled Link's Actions, Did You See That?, showcases a variety of sword techniques from past Legend of Zelda games on the Super Famicom and Nintendo 64 that inspired his moveset in Soul Calibur 2. The article highlights the nostalgic feeling of techniques like the spin attack and boomerang, as well as lesser-known moves, and encourages players to learn them for strategic advantage. The article shows Link doing his bomb attack, B+K, enemy push, A+G or B+G from behind, hyper dash attack, back plus B+K, spin attack, down diagonal, back plus A, and backflip, back plus K. The text discusses the bomb attack, inherited from the early Zelda games, and explains how to execute and use it effectively in Soul Calibur 2. It also mentions the enemy push, explaining the lower damage and how to execute other follow-up attacks. There's also a quiz that challenges the reader to identify the origins of Link's moves, with options referencing the original Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Ocarina of Time, and A Link to the Past. This page focuses on Link's winning poses and expressions in Soul Calibur 2. When you win a battle, Link strikes a winning pose, with 4 different poses available by holding the A, B, K, or G buttons after victory. The page features images of Link in various winning poses, and also shows mission failed screens when Link loses in Weapon Master mode. It also gives close-ups of Link's facial expressions, his standard face, fighting face, and a pained expression when taking damage. The article encourages players to pay attention to Link's subtle facial expressions during gameplay, which change based on the situation, highlighting the value of watching replays to see his reactions. You can view Link's profile and upgraded forms in museum mode. Clearing arcade mode unlocks this, giving access to his story, and letting you view him from different angles with weapons like the Megaton Hammer and Soul Edge. The next page dives into Link's weapons in Soul Calibur 2. It showcases 9 weapons obtainable in Weapon Master mode, encouraging players to experiment with different reach and power combinations. The page includes a table listing where to find each weapon in the various shops. Weapon details are given including the Feather Sword, Ammo Series, Megaton Hammer, Baera's Cane, Mirror Shield, Magical Sword, Special-Handed Daigalon Katana, Soul Edge, and Great Fairy Sword. Finally, there's a quick guide to Weapon Master mode, advocating the use of the Up plus B combo and grinding for money in Chapter 6 to obtain all of the weapons. This page focuses on the character Sophicia Alexandra from Soul Calibur 2. It highlights how to unlock both Sophicia and her alternate character, Cassandra, and provides a detailed move list for Sophicia. The page encourages players to master her fighting style, focusing on using forward as a primary attack and mixing in mid and low attacks. It also gives tips for close-range combat and escaping pinches. There are screenshots of Sophicia's moves in action and a detailed breakdown of her attacks, complete with command inputs, attack types, and special properties of different attacks. This page details Sophicia's advanced techniques in Soul Calibur 2, specifically focusing on her Angel Step maneuver and the various moves that can follow it. It emphasizes using the Angel Step to evade high attacks and initiate offensive strategies. The page showcases moves like Angel Satellite, Angel Force, and Catharsis Satellite, with accompanying screenshots and descriptions of their properties and strategic use. It includes a detailed move list, outlining command inputs, attack types, high, mid, low, and additional notes regarding special properties like cancelability or delayed execution. It also includes her 8-way run moves and throwing techniques, wall jump, and some special moves. The next page introduces Seong Mina from Soul Calibur 2, detailing her fighting style and weapon, the Zanbatu called Hongle. Seong Mina is described as a warrior skilled in mid to long range combat, using the Zanbatu's reach to her advantage. The page outlines her basic battle strategy, emphasizing the use of down plus A to evade high attacks and control the opponent, and using B or A at a distance, also the down plus A plus K. It shows combo examples and general tactics, like launching opponents with B for aerial combos and following up with EK while the enemy is down. The page mentions that her moves are similar to Killick's. A full move list details each attack's command, properties, and any special notes. The next page continues the focus on Seong Mina from Soul Calibur 2, providing deeper insights into her combat techniques. It emphasizes utilizing a mix of mid and low attacks to keep opponents guessing and recommends guarding to create openings for counterattacks. The page showcases specific attacks like Yusuengeki, A plus KK, Chitusen, A plus K, and Haishin Sugeki, A plus K, highlighting their properties. There's an explanation of the Yusuengeki combo, A plus KK, describing how it hits mid and middle levels, as well as other moves like Ansugeki, Circle Sweep, which is effective at lower levels, and Katsumin Shukao, KK, which is a combination of mid and low levels. There is an additional table that presents Seong Mina's extensive move list, detailing each attack's command inputs, attack level, high, mid, low, and any special properties or notes. This includes commands performed while standing, crouching, during stance shift, jumping and dashing, with the 8-way run commands. The next page is a strategy guide for Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart on the Game Boy Advance. It covers basic system information, story elements, and monster data. The guide focuses on helpful information for your journey, specifically, caravan actions. It covers food consumption, emphasizing the importance of planning your route based on available food. The guide also stresses the importance of orb information and how they are guarded by monsters known as Genma. There's an explanation of color orbs, which, when offered at a specific altar, can automatically generate dungeons. The page includes screenshots of the game, showing different terrains and their effect on food consumption. It advises using the map and the map skills of the caravan to help. This page from a strategy guide for Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart focuses on party composition and handling random events. It highlights the strengths of different character classes, such as the warrior, dancer, priest, mapmaker, merchant, wizard, martial artist, and fisherman, and how they can be used in a caravan. It discusses how to effectively organize your party based on character weight, skills, and abilities. The guide also covers how to handle random events encountered on the field, like finding food or facing unfavorable situations, and advises players to maintain a good amount of food. The next page is a strategy guide page for Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart, covering the initial steps of the game, focusing on the Del Condal region. The page suggests a route, starting in the Forest of Maze, then to the Caravan Tent, followed by the tent near town, and finally to Del Condal town and the Cave of Departure. It shows the character's initial adventure in the Forest of Maze, and how they must talk to the caravan members to convince them to become a leader. It introduces early game monsters like Draki, Slime, Sea Slug, Confeto, and Ghost Candle, along with their stats. It also explains the functions of caravan facilities, like the base camp, where you can talk to Ruin to depart. The guide advises players to visit and check the facilities, and talk to Ruin before leaving the tent. It also describes the tent near town as a location where you can replenish food supplies for free. This page continues the strategy guide for Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart, focusing on Del Condal town and the Cave of Departure. Firstly, the page details Del Condal town, emphasizing the importance of gathering information. It advises talking to the townspeople, including Ruin's parents and the town mayor, to gain advice for the journey. It also lists the items available at the town shop, including herbs, antidote herbs, apples, and large apples, along with their prices. Next, the guide covers the Cave of Departure, explaining that permission is needed to enter and that the person who grants it is in Del Condal town. It mentions the appearance of ghost candles in the cave, noting they often appear in groups. The page features the character Elisa, who seems like she wants to join you. Finally, the page reveals new jobs, including Metal Hunter and Thief. The Metal Hunter lures metal slimes, while the Thief steals from monsters, and a third unrevealed job is also mentioned. The next page is a strategy guide for Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart, specifically covering the Larisha region. The page includes a map highlighting key locations, such as the Cave of Departure exit, Loafa Town, Larisha Castle, Ririza Town, a merchant's tent, a northeastern pier, the Cave of the Hero's Spring, an old man's house, and a northwestern shrine. It suggests a route to follow, starting from the Cave of Departure exit and progressing through these various locations. The guide also notes that the monsters appearing in this region are 3 times stronger than in the Del Condal area, and to prepare accordingly. The page also showcases various monsters with their stats, HP, Express, Gold, and potential item drops. These include Minun, Healer Slime, Kanpaido, Pufferfish, Slime, Mamamja, Firestarter, Killer Scoop, Puppet Man, Kamaitachi, Vampire Rat, Cactus Ball, Living Statue, Draydon, and Ghost. The guide highlights Loafa Town, advising players to gather information from the villagers and shops. It mentions that large apples can be purchased here. The guide also points out that the inn in Loafa Town has a fortune teller, with rooms costing 15 gold. Regarding Larisha Castle, the guide mentions it is now a desolate place, haunted by ghosts, with rumors of a female ghost appearing. It suggests exploring the castle to uncover its secrets, and recommends using the area around Larisha Castle as a base camp for future actions. This page continues the strategy guide for Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart, focusing on Riza Town. It emphasizes gathering information, as the town is located west of Larisha Castle, beyond the desert, and requires ample food preparation. The town's shop sells items such as medicinal herb, 20G, wake-up powder, 30G, wing of the wyvern, 50G, and apple, 20G. There's a merchant's tent, where expensive items are sold, advising players to bring a merchant in a caravan to collect zeni in battles to earn money quickly. The northeastern pier is a place to find rare goods. It's mentioned that talking to everyone at the pier might reveal unexpected events. The page details the transformation patterns for powerful monsters. Specifically, the evolution path for White King transforming into Daimadu, which then can turn into Griffin X when using the hearts of monsters. The next page continues, the Dragon Quest monsters, Caravan Heart Strategy Guide, focusing on specific locations and tips for challenging areas. Section 7 highlights the Hero's Spring Cave, where players can encounter rare monsters like ghosts, dorigans, and Tsukinorashi, which are tough and require strong parties with high attack power classes such as mages or warriors. The cave itself isn't vast, so minimal food is needed.
A quote from the game references cleansing bodies in the holy springs. Section 8 discusses the house of an old man, emphasizing that he is a chef and could be consulted about cooking matters. However, he enjoys being alone and isn't usually cooperative, but he does have an apprentice somewhere in the area. Section 9 mentions a suspicious location northwest of Riza town. It is noted that a lost warrior is there, and to remember the location, while the hero's spring cave is located more to the northeast. The bottom section promotes communication battles using the Big Buzz communication cable, allowing players to test their caravan leader skills. The page shows a screenshot of a battle in the tent, various team configurations, and victory scenes. The game features free battles, standard Enix rules, and customizable local rules. This page is a monster skill guide for Dragon Quest monsters. Caravan Heart. It covers monsters from C to D rank, detailing their basic stats and skills. The page lists various monster families, like slimes, animals, materials, and demons, along with their ranks, weights, and learnable skills. For instance, it shows that an aqua slime learns skills such as Bubble Shot, Heal, and Piora. Similarly, the animal-type monster Aberran Ushidori learns Charge, Pound, and Tackle. The guide advises players to consider these skills when training their monsters, as they carry over after reincarnation, with a note that how good their tactics are changes the way they fight in battle. The next page delves into Made in Wario for the Game Boy Advance, highlighting games that appear within the game. It gives the basic details, such as it is an instant action game for 12 players, retailing for 4,800 yen. The tagline is, games where a match is decided in an instant, inspiration, and trimming. The page also includes a 9 volts happy and embarrassing Nintendo catalog, with the character 9 volt. It focuses on how 9 volts stage features classic Nintendo products that are now hard to find. For those unfamiliar with these retro items, the catalog provides some trivia to appreciate the times. The page also showcases screenshots from the game, showing 9 volt playing classic Nintendo games. The page includes a Nintendo history timeline, highlighting key events and game releases from 1949 to 2003. Red text indicates games featured in Made in Wario. Events such as the release of the Ultra Hand, Duck Hunt, Zelda, and releases of various consoles are marked, with a screenshot of Sheriff, the arcade game. Lastly, there's a section titled Hard to Go, showcasing the family computer, Famicom, and the Virtual Boy, describing them as revolutionary machines. This page features a nostalgic look at retro Nintendo toys and games. First, we see the Ultra Hand, described as a precursor to Idea Toys, where you can grab things with a pincer. Next to it is the Ultra Machine batting toy, which was advertised on TV. Then there's Custom Gunman, a light gun game used in amusement facilities, often found in former bowling alley locations, alongside other light gun series games for home use. The Racing 112 is a game where you can play 112 different games on your TV. It was revolutionary at the time due to the many playstyles available. The page continues with Sheriff and Donkey Kong, arcade games that were popular at game centers, noting that Donkey Kong led to a rapid increase in game centers. Also shown is Chiritori, a remote-controlled toy cleaning machine. Finally, there's a look at the world's first LCD handheld game machine, Game & Watch, which was very popular at the time. We have a look at the Helmet Game & Watch, and another Game & Watch with the dual screen, priced at 6,000 yen. It was described as having impressive display capabilities, and also features a section about Nintendo's history as a toy and game company. The page also has a picture of a Nintendo playing card set, which are still popular for their high quality. The next page dives into the world of the Famicom, or Nintendo Entertainment System, highlighting its impact and some of its key features. It boasts how the console didn't have built-in games, but instead utilized cartridges, giving it a revolutionary edge. Games mentioned include Urban Champion, Balloon Fight, Super Mario Bros., and Ice Climber. It also showcases the Famicom Light Gun series, featuring games like Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, and Wild Gunman. Duck Hunt is described as allowing 2 players, one shooting ducks, and the other controlling their movements. The page then touches upon Family Basic, allowing users to create their own simple games,
highlighting the system's versatility. The disk system gets a mention, allowing users to rewrite games at designated machines in stores, listing The Legend of Zelda and Metroid as examples. The Famicom robot is featured, a wireless robot that moves by sensing light from the screen, highlighting its ability to grab and move objects. The next page showcases a variety of peripherals and games for the Super Famicom, Super Nintendo. It starts with the Game Boy, remarking on its surprisingly large size at the time, powered by 4A batteries, and only featuring a monochrome screen. The release date is listed as April 21st, with a price of 12,500 yen, and the slogan, "Handy Game Machine," is mentioned. Titles such as Tetris and Dr. Mario are mentioned as key titles for the system. Next, it highlights the Super Famicom console itself, and the launch titles, F-Zero, Super Mario World, and Pilot Wings. The Super Famicom mouse and Mario Paint are featured, noting that the game includes a fly-swatting minigame. The Super Scope is shown, described as a light bazooka that rests on the shoulder. The Virtual Boy game Mario Clash is mentioned, describing the 3D visuals as striking but limited to red and black, and expressing the difficulty of seeing the screen properly. Finally, it discusses the roots of the Made in Wario series, focusing on Polygon Studio for the 64DD, which features a minigame called Sound Bomber, a prototype of what the series would become. The next page is a guide for The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap, and The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords on the Game Boy Advance. It promises an in-depth exploration of the game's linking system and offers final strategies. Part 1 focuses on the final stage of 4 Swords, detailing how to unlock the Wind Palace by collecting 1,000 rupees in each of the Forest of No Return, Cave of the Rock Mountain, and Death Mountain stages to obtain the keys from the Great Fairy. It explains the boss battle with Gufu, advising players to use bombs and swords to defeat him. Part 2 provides tips for clearing the Wind Palace multiple times. Clearing the Wind Palace once allows you to see an ending, but it isn't over yet. After seeing it once, you can challenge the dungeon on a second and third run. The second attempt requires 3,000 rupees, while the third needs 5,000 rupees to enter. It then details the Silver Key level, the Gold Key level, and the Hero's Key level. Each time you clear, all bosses are reintroduced. Basic stages are 2 random maps and a boss fight, while the Wind Palace on the third round is a long battle in 12 stages. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. This page is a walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, on the Super Famicom, focusing on strategies for the Pyramid of Darkness dungeon. It starts by mentioning that the player needs to have defeated Ganon in A Link to the Past, or Gufu in 4 Swords, to access the dungeon. The guide gives tips on how to navigate the dungeon, such as lighting torches to slow down water currents, and defeating bosses like Wart. It also includes maps of the first and second floors of the dungeon, indicating the locations of key items like the 4-sword. It details enemy encounters and puzzle solutions, such as eliminating all enemies to open the doors, or using the hookshot to traverse areas with holes in the floor. The next page provides a walkthrough for the Pyramid of Darkness dungeon in The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. It details strategies for various rooms, including using the Somaria block to activate switches and create beams, navigating rooms with like-likes, and using arrows to break skull switches. There are also tips for boss battles against Ziroku, Blind, and Gamouse, with explanations of their attack patterns and how to defeat them. Finally, the guide offers strategies for the 4 Dark Links fight, advising players to attack from behind and exploit openings in their defense. The guide also provides map segments for specific areas, such as rooms with star switches, and gives directions on how to proceed through the dungeon. The next page features Wagama Fairy Mirumo de Pon, known as Mirmo. In English, the game is a hit GBA title ranking at number 9. It's based on a popular shoujo manga and anime. The game centers on the fairy Mirmo and an ordinary girl Kaede Minami. The manga is serialized in Chao magazine as a popular work. The anime is entering its second year with a new story. The GBA version, Mirmo de Pon, features an original story. The story revolves around Mirmo and Kaede, trying to retrieve the stolen golden maracas from the Warumo gang within the fairy world. The Konami's PR department shared that Mirmo is a popular title for kids and adults. The initial release included special stickers and early purchase bonus. The game involves exploring with 2 characters, Mirmo and Kaede, and features over 40 characters. The page also has a sales graph for the GBA version, which shows strong sales after re-release, reaching over 55,000 copies in March. The game's price is listed as 4,800 yen and is an adventure game for one player. This page is a sticker sheet from Nintendo Dream Magazine, Volume 88. The stickers feature characters from the Sonic X anime and Animal Crossing. It highlights the second anniversary of Animal Crossing's release. In addition, the page features marketing for Naruto, Clash of Ninja on the GameCube. The next page is a solid yellow color and does not have any content. This page is an advertisement for Harvest Moon, which has been around long before the term healing game existed. It invites players, both new and old, to return to the Nintendo hardware and enjoy a relaxing farm life. The ad highlights the appeal of raising crops and caring for animals and the simple joys it provides. It specifically mentions Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, and Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, directing readers to pages 74 and 68 respectively for more information. The next page is an instructional guide for Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advance. It focuses on three key aspects of farm management: field maintenance, crop cultivation, and livestock care. It introduces the character Thomas, the town's mayor, and highlights the freedom players have in developing their farm, with the ability to upgrade tools at the blacksmith and socialize with townspeople. Screenshots showcase gameplay elements like clearing land, planting crops, and watering them. A table lists various crops, including turnips, potatoes, cucumbers, strawberries, cabbage, tomatoes, corn, onions, pumpkins, pineapples, eggplants, carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, peppers, moondrop grass, pink cat grass, magic red grass, toy flower grass, and grass for livestock, along with their seed prices, selling prices, seasons, growing times, and whether they can be harvested multiple times. This page of Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town tips covers animal husbandry. The page details the process of raising chickens, sheep, and cows, covering the basics of buying them, feeding them, and harvesting products like eggs, wool, and milk. Chickens are highlighted as being the easiest to raise, while cows are more expensive but offer greater profit potential. The article also notes that buying chicks only costs 1,500 grams. Tables detail the prices you can get for different qualities of eggs, wool, and milk. For eggs, normal quality sells for 50 grams, good quality for 60 grams, very good quality for 80 grams, golden eggs for 100 grams, and hot spring eggs for 80 grams. Wool ranges from 100 grams to 600 grams depending on the size, while milk ranges from 100 grams to 300 grams. Also covered is how to befriend the heroines of Mineral Town, and it mentions some of the girls you can befriend, such as Ellie, Mary, and Popuri. The page mentions that you can deepen your relationship with the heroines, and if you propose and succeed, you can get married and live together on the farm. It also touches upon the importance of socializing with the townspeople and taking part in town festivals. This page features an interview with Yasuhito Wada, the producer, and Takuhiro Goto, the promoter of the Harvest Moon series. It discusses the origins of the series, revealing that the original title concept was Life Ranch, but was considered too niche. The interview touches on the game's setting and inspiration, drawing from Hokkaido farms and the anime Heidi, Girl of the Alps. The conversation covers the success of the series, particularly with the Harvest Moon GB release, which coincided with the Pokemon boom. Wada mentions that initial sales of Harvest Moon on SFC were modest, but it gained popularity through word of mouth and comic adaptations. Wada acknowledges that the Game Boy version's quality wasn't exceptional, but it offered a simpler experience. The page includes screenshots from Harvest Moon SFC, Harvest Moon GB, Harvest Moon 2 N64, and Harvest Moon GB2, highlighting the evolution of the series. The next page features an interview with the Harvest Moon developers about the series. They discuss the satisfying feeling of the gameplay loop, collecting items one by one. One developer, Goto, admits to wasting spaces in the 3x3 farming grid, but making up for it with ease of harvest and quick access to fun. Wada talks about how the game has a way of bringing people back for more, almost putting the player into a trance. They mention the difficulty of early gameplay when you start with no money, needing to mine ore until you collapse. The freedom to play your way from the start is emphasized. Goto says that people who don't know what to do might be confused by the initial farm management, and Wada says players get engrossed in town life and marriage. The page includes a section titled How to play. Understanding the personality of the player. And says the way players build their fields and farms can reveal the player's personality. Screenshots from Harvest Moon for PlayStation, Harvest Moon GB3 Boy Meets Girl for Game Boy Color, Harvest Moon for Girl for PlayStation, and Harvest Moon 3, To a Heart That Burns, for PlayStation 2 are shown. The listed release dates are from 1999 to 2001. The GBA title Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, and the GameCube title Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, are listed with release dates in 2003. This Harvest Moon interview features developers Wada and Go2 discussing the series' evolution. They highlight the challenge of balancing animal care with gameplay, noting simplifications from the original game's moo sound. Marriage is confirmed as a core element, with the ending of Harvest Moon for Girl discussed, along with player feedback. The GBA version's improvements, like faster loading and save anywhere, are also addressed. The developers emphasize the series' focus on accessible gameplay and the satisfying progression of crops and animals. The interview touches on the optional romance system and showcases artwork and screenshots from various games, including a focus on the villa reward for dedication. The next page features an interview about Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. Wada and Goto discuss the endless nature of the series and how they aim to keep things fresh with new items and content, comparing it to a Dragon Quest-like experience. They mention a vast underground mine with 2x floors.
The developers also touch upon the game's volume, stating it's the largest yet. They delve into the complexities of implementing animal emotions and behaviors. Wada and Goto compare Harvest Moon to Animal Crossing, noting how A Wonderful Life allows for a more nuanced connection with the animals. Players can influence the animals' feelings. They also discuss incorporating online elements, like town residents, and the challenges of creating a believable online experience, and refer to Animal Forest as inspiration. A potential GBA link-up for Mineral Town is teased. They end by considering the future of the series and how to create a unique experience. This page is an advertisement for Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life for the Nintendo GameCube. The ad highlights the game's central theme of life's passage and the evolving relationships within the game's town. It promises a new experience for Harvest Moon fans, with the player's character and farm changing over a 30-year in-game period. The player's appearance and the farm itself change as time progresses, and the game features a wide array of animals. There are screenshots of house upgrades, and highlights new animal companions like a turtle, a raccoon, and an owl. The next page delves into the evolving community of Forget-Me-Not Valley in Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. As the game progresses, the town and its residents grow and change. The page focuses on 3 characters, highlighting their growth from childhood to adulthood. The page details how the town itself evolves, with the player's house expanding and new homes being built. It suggests the potential for new residents and marriages between existing characters. Specific characters featured are Hugh, a sporty boy who loves to run. We see him at ages 6, 14, and 21, growing from a young boy to a strong young man. Lumina, a shy girl who looks up to the player. She appears at ages 14 and 22, evolving into a mature and elegant woman. Kate, Hugh's childhood friend, an energetic girl. Her depicted ages are 7 and 19, showcasing her growth while retaining her spirited personality. This page is an attack guide for Metroid Prime on the Nintendo GameCube. It focuses on how to collect the 12 artifacts required to beat the game, specifically detailing the locations of 8. It provides instructions, including maps and screenshots, on how to find the artifacts in various locations, such as the Chozo Ruins, Phazon Mines, and Magma Caverns. The page includes specific enemies to defeat, power-ups to obtain, and puzzles to solve to acquire each artifact. Artifacts detailed include the Truth, Strength, Elder, Wild, Guard, Warrior, Chozo, and Nature. The next page is a continuation of the Metroid Prime guide, specifically focusing on how to acquire the Spider Ball. It details the routes to obtaining key items needed before acquiring the Spider Ball, such as the Missile Launcher, Morph Ball, Charge Beam, Bombs, Variosuit, Boost Ball, Space Jump, Wave Beam, Super Missiles, and the Thermal Visor. The page includes a map of the game world, highlighting the locations of these items within areas like the Chozo Ruins, Talon Overworld, Phazon Mines, and Phendrana Drifts. Screenshots accompany each item description, providing visual cues on how to obtain them. The final item on the list is the Spider Ball,
found in the Phendrana Drifts after defeating Thardus in the Ice Ruins. The page also describes fighting the Thardus boss battle, advising the use of the thermal visor to expose its weak points, then switching to the combat visor to finish the fight. This page continues the Metroid Prime Guide, providing detailed instructions on how to acquire the Wavebuster and Ice Beam. The Wavebuster is found in the Chozo Ruins. The guide details finding power conduits, activating cooling systems, and destroying stone pillars with super missiles to reach the Wavebuster. A map and screenshots illustrate the process. Next is the Ice Beam, obtained after getting the Wavebuster. The guide directs the player from the energy core to the melting furnace and water storage pool. It involves using morph ball abilities to solve puzzles and reach the Ice Beam in the pool chamber. A map and screenshots also show the Ice Beam location and how to obtain it. The next page focuses on obtaining the gravity suit in Metroid Prime. It provides a map and step-by-step instructions to navigate from the Chozo Ruins to the Phendrana Depths where the gravity suit is located. The guide details the path through various areas, including the Orpheon crash site, lava caves, twin bridges, frost caves, and Phendrana Depths. It gives tips for defeating enemies like Hunter Metroids by freezing them with the Ice Beam and then using a missile. It also describes how to solve puzzles, like activating bomb slots on statues in the Chozo Ruins. Finally, the guide explains how to drain the water in the water storage pool, which involves strategically using boost ball and bombs to reach the Ice Beam. This page is an attack guide for Metroid Prime, focusing on how to obtain the power bomb. The guide provides a map of the Phazon Mines B1F area, along with numbered locations corresponding to key objectives. These locations include the Orpheon crash site, Ventilation Shaft D, Reactor Core Entrance, Cargo Lift, Research Data Storage Area, Biotic Research Area 1, Ventilation Duct, Phazon Mining Station, Main Security, Pirate Research Area 1, Spin Tower, Research Area Connecting Passageway, Pirate Research Area 2, Large Ventilation Shaft, Pirate Research Area 3, and Central Power Station. It gives specific strategies for defeating enemies like the Shadow Pirate, Wave Trooper, Power Trooper, Ice Trooper, and Elite Pirate. Additionally, it gives instructions on how to use the thermal visor to locate power conduits in the reactor core area, and explains how to reach the power bomb itself by defeating drone MK2 and entering the floor. The next page continues the Metroid Prime Attack Guide, walking you through gameplay tactics. It begins with climbing the platforms and activating 3 power conduits with the Wave Beam. You'll need to grab the energy tank within the cargo lift. Next, scan the computer and rotate the gun turret to destroy the wall concealing a gate. The guide then discusses reaching an energy tank by underwater bomb jumping, and later collecting a missile tank after disabling a shield by scanning 2 switches and activating a crane. It details the method of rotating towers, using bomb slots to connect ball tracks, and advance to the 3rd floor. The final section highlights defeating drone MK2 with the Wavebuster to get the power bomb. This page continues the Metroid Prime Guide. It instructs on obtaining the grappling beam from the top of the spin tower. It starts by revisiting areas using the power bomb to advance. This includes large ventilation shafts and pirate research areas. The guide details blowing up floors with power bombs, using morph ball mode to navigate tunnels, and activating switches. Another section explains how to manipulate spinners to open pathways, and using the boost ball to ascend slopes. It also covers acquiring missile tanks, and provides a map for the Phazon Mines area, highlighting key locations such as Pirate Research Area 3, the large ventilation shaft, the spin tower, and the save station. Finally, it mentions acquiring the X-ray visor. The next page continues the walkthrough for Metroid Prime, specifically detailing how to acquire the Ice Spreader and Plasma Beam. This involves using power bombs to open new paths and traversing magma garden connecting bridges. The Ice Spreader section guides the player on how to use power bombs to clear obstacles and defeat Chozo ghosts, eventually leading to the acquisition of the Ice Spreader. The Plasma Beam section focuses on navigating the geothermal power plant area in lava caves, requiring the player to use rotating lifts and ball tracks. It includes instructions on using the boost ball and avoiding metal parasites, culminating in obtaining the Plasma Beam in the geothermal power station room. The page also provides a map with marked locations. The next page is an advertisement for the Nintendo GameCube game, Gekitu Pro Yaku, Fierce Fighting Pro Baseball. Featuring characters from the Dokuben manga series by Shinji Mizushima, alongside real-life baseball players from the 2003 season. The game allows players to experience dream matchups between these characters and professional athletes, showcasing their unique abilities and signature moves, even special moves like Dream Balls. The advertisement highlights the real aspects of the game, featuring updated player data and likenesses of popular players. It also mentions the inclusion of team mascots and even managers.
Screenshots show players such as Daisuke Matsuzaka, and also features real-life managers in the game.
This page is a special report in the magazine focusing on the Dokuben series and the fierce fighting pro baseball game. It highlights the feature of allowing players to freely choose team affiliations for Dokuben characters. It showcases several Dokuben characters who appear in the game, including Taro Yamada and Daikichi Tsuchimon, featuring their signature moves and rivalries. The page promotes dream matchups and introduces other characters like Tetsugoro Iwata from Baseball Poem and Yasutake Kageura. It also teases unrevealed characters that may appear in the game, speculating on potential additions such as Nakanishi Kyudo, Fujimura Koshien, and others. The page concludes with a comic strip featuring a showdown between characters, illustrating the strategic anticipation between pitcher and batter, emphasizing the intense moments unique to baseball. The next page is a preview of Giftpia for the Nintendo GameCube, promising to reveal the secrets behind how a Pockle grows into an adult. The game takes place on Nanashi Island, where the protagonist, a Pockle, is sentenced to jail for missing the coming-of-age ceremony. The report details the game's systems, like how sleepiness impacts gameplay, and how running out of hara, stamina, leads to a game over. Gathering Negai balls is important for collecting money. There's an emphasis on returning home when sleepy to avoid being robbed by the Nemui spirit. The island has a day/night cycle, natural food, and the ability to freeze mushrooms. The page highlights the need to feed your pet dog Tao, and that time flows differently on Nanashi Island, influencing the events and characters you encounter. This page continues the Giftpia preview, focusing on how to make your Pockle character grow into an adult. There are two main paths: attending a re-adult ceremony, or naturally growing up by fulfilling the wishes of the islanders. The re-adult ceremony requires gathering money. The village mayor, Mr. Mayor, instructs you to earn money to pay for this ceremony. Another character, a mushroom-loving old man called Geeg, suggests growing up naturally through good deeds. The player gets to choose which path to follow. To earn main, you can sell natural items in shops or take on part-time jobs.
The page shows a screenshot of the money transfer system and the character fishing in the plaza.
Another method is to fulfill the wishes of people by going to Tenjin Shrine and offering asane, offerings. If you then absorb the desires of people who have wishes, you can turn them into kane balls by granting their wish and donating the kane balls to the Tenjin statue to grow up into an adult. The article features characters like Mr. Mayor, Geeg, and a child named Chibita, who lives in the Nanashi Hotel and is involved in a quest to retrieve a soccer ball. The next page is a preview of Fire Emblems, The Blazing Blade, a tactical RPG for the Game Boy Advance. It highlights new features and system changes compared to the previous title. Fire Emblem, The Binding Blade. The game puts the player in the role of a tactician who guides the story. The article covers character customization, where players can set their character's name, blood type, birth month, and gender. The game begins with the player meeting Lin, a central character in the early part of the game. The page also describes the early stages of the game, focusing on the story and gameplay mechanics. In the first chapter, Lin is found unconscious at the edge of the plains and aids a traveling tactician. Players will encounter characters such as Kent and Sane, who will fight alongside you on your travels. The screenshots and captions provide insights into the game's mechanics, like unit types, and the importance of terrain and weather conditions. This page of 64 Dream covers several aspects of Fire Emblem, The Blazing Blade, focusing on gameplay mechanics and character introductions. It begins by explaining how to obtain items from defeated enemies. Items dropped are highlighted in green text to make them easier to spot. The page also touches on the return of the communications arena, where players can engage in battles using customized teams of up to 5 units. The article shows menu screens for team composition, practice modes, and rule settings. The article continues with a look at Chapter 2, The Sword of the Spirit. It details a scenario where the party visits a sacred altar in a town. Players will encounter bandits trying to steal a sword. The map contains breakable walls that can be destroyed. Chapter 3. A small mercenary band introduces Florina, a Pegasus knight, and Will, an archer. The storyline involves assisting Florina, who is under attack by bandits.
The map includes a village with enemy archers. It then shows a cutscene with Florina and a character data screen. Finally, it mentions the acquisition of the Manikati sword, which can only be wielded by Lin.
The next page is a feature on Rune 2, Coralton no Kagi no Himitsu, for the Nintendo GameCube. It highlights new systems and key attractions. The article focuses on the story, which involves a young girl named Liz caught up in a war for the key. Coralton, a country, is invading surrounding areas with an artificial key. Gameplay involves using cards to summon creatures for battle, balancing your deck of 30 cards for attack, defense, and healing. The page showcases selecting a stage map, clearing stages by defeating enemies and bosses, and adjusting your deck using cards found in towns. The idea is that by clearing one stage, a new stage map appears. The page features screenshots of gameplay, including a character called Liz and enemies, along with images of the card-based combat system. This page dives deeper into Rune 2, Coralton's Key Secrets, focusing on collecting items and enhancing cards. To strengthen your deck, you'll need to collect cards and red sprites, Rim, scattered throughout the maps. Collecting Rim allows you to exchange them for rare cards, aiding in card completion. In Rune 2, the powers of transformation cards are utilized, allowing you to access many areas by flying and climbing to explore every nook and cranny to collect cards. Card shops and Russell's house enhance your cards. As you progress through the scenario, you'll enter Cadiz, where you can gather information, visit card shops, and Russell's house.
In the card shop, you can strengthen and copy cards, which is important for deck enhancement. Buying, copying, and class-changing cards are all possible. You can buy cards for money or sell your own. You can class change to obtain stronger cards. At Russell's house, you can acquire rare cards by gathering red sprites. By entrusting the sprites to Russell, the sprite expert, you'll receive rare cards. Transform cards can help you surpass terrain obstacles. You can also earn cards based on your stage clear evaluation, depending on the number of enemies defeated and damage taken. There are also submaps, where you can enjoy events unrelated to the main scenario. One such place is the Hall of the Fighting God, where you can battle NPCs using cards. This page provides an in-depth look at the card system and how your protagonist's attributes change in Rune 2, Coralton's Key Secrets. The game features over 200 different types of cards to collect and utilize, with 5 card types: Weapon, Summon, Autonomous, Support, and Transformation. The protagonist's stats change based on their mastery of card attributes used in battle. Using cards of a certain attribute increases your proficiency in that element, which influences your character's overall capabilities. The page visually demonstrates the relationships between attributes, such as fire and water being opposite, while earth is strong against wood. The page shows the character's strengths and weaknesses change depending on their alignment. When the protagonist is earth aligned, they're vulnerable to wood attacks, while an anomaly alignment makes them more resistant to wood attacks. The next page offers gameplay tips for Rune 2, Coralton's Key Secrets, focusing on card combinations and versus mode. The page explains how to discover powerful card combos, called combos, by using specific card combinations. Players can discover combos with red fairies, or by experimenting with Z-strengthening cards, which are marked with red frames when successful. Several combos are highlighted, including Stone Meteor, which combines 3 stone head cards, Mandragora Mixer, which uses 3 Mandragora cards, and Green Guardian, which requires a combination of elf cards that helps to heal the player. The page also introduces the game's versus mode, allowing players to battle each other. The sequel provides a wide selection of characters, including main characters, Colton soldiers, and even members of the Mysterious Order. VS mode adds new stages and cards that enhance battles. It also introduces new mechanics, such as hiding to recover MP, and it features additional cards like Loris to disrupt the opponent's MP recovery, Mr. Reverse to reverse controls, and Puka to flip cards in hand. The next page introduces the main characters from Summon Night, confirming their appearance. The game shares a similar worldview to the PS1 Summon Night series, and this installment will feature 4 main characters who have appeared in the series. The page highlights key characters with their unique personalities, including Shindo Hayato,
a boy from another world who is described as passionate and proactive. Plus, Natsumi Hashimoto, a cheerful girl who's active in the volleyball club and admired for her optimistic nature. The other characters are Tuya Fukazaki, a cool-headed swordsman who is a sportsman and student librarian known for his calm demeanor, and Aya Higuchi, a quiet honor student who works in the school library. The page also includes screenshots of in-game dialogue and battles, as well as introduces new characters and systems. The bottom section of the page is dedicated to Summon Knight, Craft Sword Story for the Game Boy Advance. The game features weapon creation. It's a 12-player RPG developed by Flightplan and published by Banpresto, costing 5,800 yen, and was released on April 25th. This page focuses on Summon Knight, Craft Sword Story for the Game Boy Advance, where you play as a blacksmith aiming to be the best. You'll create weapons and use them in tournaments. The page showcases the main characters, the male protagonist Kryu, and female protagonist Platy. The storyline follows the journey up to the first tournament match. Screenshots show in-game dialogue and action-packed battles, including special attacks and companion characters aiding in combat. The page also details the communication mode, allowing players to exchange items and battle each other. It outlines how to trade items and initiate battles, including setting wagers. Finally, the page mentions that the first edition of the game includes an official setting materials collection as a bonus, with new illustrations, character setting information, and a glossary. The next page is an advertisement for Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow on the Game Boy Advance. It highlights the game's story, set in 2035 Japan, where protagonist Soma Cruz is drawn into Dracula's castle during a solar eclipse. The goal is to escape the castle and unravel the mystery behind Soma's powers. The page details the weapon system, where attack methods change based on the equipped weapon, showing how different weapons affect combat style. The characters Yoko Belnades, a witch, and Jay, who has the power of demonology, appear in the game. Screenshots show Soma battling enemies, leveling up, and exploring the castle. This page delves deeper into the tactical soul system of Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow. It explains how Soma Cruz can absorb the souls of monsters to gain their abilities, a system divided into 4 types: Action, Ability, Bullet, and Guardians. Action souls enhance Soma's moves, like the Gleipnir soul, enabling a backdash, which are essential for exploration. Ability souls grant new actions, exemplified by the double jump obtained from the Malphas soul, allowing access to previously unreachable areas. Bullet souls consume MP and grant sub-weapon-like attacks, such as throwing spears, water blasts, or bones. Guardian souls drain MP to activate continuous effects, such as creating barriers or summoning orbiting flames. The page also touches on Enchant Souls, which boost Soma's stats and provide unique abilities like walking on water, enhanced by collecting souls. Screenshots showcase Soma using these abilities, and the soul set screens display stat changes and equip souls. This page focuses on Sonic Adventure DX, which features 6 playable characters with unique stages and actions. The game is a remake for the GameCube. The game's graphics have been enhanced into full 3D, each character offers distinct gameplay, and the page features screenshots of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, E102, and Big the Cat in their respective stages. The initial part focuses on Station Square, showcasing Chaos, a liquid-like creature, as Sonic's first boss. This page features reader contributions to Nindori Journey, a section of the magazine. The editor, Kayan, expresses gratitude for the reader submissions. A reader mentions an 18-year-old brother leaving home, and someone asks, who drew the accompanying illustration? A reader from Hokkaido shares that spring is a season of departures and encounters. A reader from Akaichi expresses frustration at being unappreciated by their family despite their hard work. There are various reader comments, including a request to compliment the reader in place of the family, a reader sharing how the Nindori magazine helps in their busy life, a comment on playing games, and a question about a Nindrina character. One reader's dream is a portable origami cake. Another reader shares a funny observation on how similar the lyrics are to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. They then suggest imagining the cherry blossom mochi as a game. Readers also share pet peeves, such as living in a home where a mandarin orange box is left in the living room like it is from the game Animal Crossing, while another is annoyed by seeing Kiyoshi Mizunashi in the news. There's also a Dream Big prediction section with reader predictions. It includes the addition of the next Smash Bros. Character, holding a Nindori festival, and a surprise attack from someone on the new Fire Emblem game. The page also features a reader comment asking to release Luigi in a game. This page is a collection of reader-submitted content, including observations, anecdotes, and artwork related to Nintendo games. This week's Nindori student features an illustration of Aruri, a wandering Pokemon from the Hoenn region, with the special skills Water Gun and Observation. A few things that make me wonder includes reader comments about if Pikmin can breathe in the dirt, whether Himaguma hibernate, surprise at Stewart's hairstyle in F-Zero GC, Metroid's painful-looking knee when kneeling in her suit, and thoughts on Pokemon Sapphire. Ah, merciless, that's ridiculous blunders. Shares tales of player error, such as mistaking Dark Link for Fado in Wind Waker, thinking Boktai was a sequel to Golden Sun, and a friend thinking Nindori was a ninja dream. There is also an image of Samus Aran, with an accompanying text, and the column Treasure of Our Village, where readers share unique treasures they find. There is a crossword puzzle, a drawing of Fire Emblem characters, and a request for drawing ideas. The next page consists of several reader-submitted sections, including dreams, parental concerns, and opinions on characterization. The Dreams, Stupid Dreams, My Dreams section includes anecdotes like Miyamoto transforming into a dragon, playing Beyblade as Link, and a dream about a Samus that becomes trapped in a small passage. School Parents Association contains parental concerns, such as a child mistaking Samus for a horseshoe crab, a mother getting angry when someone changes the channel during Metroid Prime commercials, and parents joking about disposing of their child's collection of over 80 Nindori magazines. Arguments Objections, which is show, discusses whether Link should use boku or as his personal pronoun, with opinions leaning towards boku for seeming pure and gentle, while others prefer or based on manga interpretations. There is a quiz section, Nindoria. One question asks what tool Link uses to capture fairies, with the answer being C, fairy HOI. Another asks who the boss of Kirby is, the answer being De, Masahiro Sakurai. The last question asks what you do when a level 4 male Karamatsu appears, with the answer being D, to become his apprentice because he looks strong. The page finishes with submission guidelines for the various sections. The next page begins with Nindori Gakuen, featuring readers' impressions. It emphasizes that developers don't intentionally make bad games, and that constructive criticism should focus on affirming the good aspects before judging. The first game reviewed is Made in Wario for the GBA, described as a must-play party game for GB players, especially in multiplayer. It's praised for its addictiveness, humor, and how it can turn even initially skeptical players into fans. The reviewer notes that even if you don't understand the rules, the game is easy to pick up, and you'll quickly find yourself laughing and panicking. Next is The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker for the GameCube. A reader expresses some questions regarding the actions of King Hyrule and the fate of Ganondorf, noting that he felt bad for the changes Ganondorf went through. The Senryu Impression section consists of short poems. Someone laments buying a game but not having enough money for the system. Another expresses frustration with Luigi's weak jump in Mario Story. A third talks about how the monster form is reversed. Quote, lastly, a poem mentions being bored of being absorbed by the enemy. This page features reader impressions and opinions, starting with the column Nindori Gakuen. A reader expresses their thoughts on The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, noting some sympathy for Ganondorf. The page also includes short reader poems, or Senryu impressions. One concerns frustrations with Luigi's jump in Mario Story, and another a reader says, being bored, being absorbed by an enemy. The page then poses the question, does Nintendo have a weakness? One reader suggests that Nintendo's weakness is its reliance on established characters like Mario and Pokemon. They note that while these characters sell well, relying too heavily on them might hinder innovation and the creation of new characters. They suggest that Nintendo should focus on creating games that leave a lasting impression, beyond just relying on familiar faces. A section titled, Let's Stop Looking Down on Games, discusses how people often judge games based on limited information, It argues that it's important to play games thoroughly before criticizing them, and suggests that Japanese gamers should avoid looking down on overseas games. Finally, a call for submissions lists the topics Nintendo is currently interested in, such as recommending games, discussing issues with Japanese game users, and the future of Game Boy Advance games. The next page presents Teach Us, Death Immortal. In its 40th lesson, titled Chiki Chiki Immortal Fierce Race Volume, it features a queue and a segment with questions from readers. One question asks if an extension cord can be used for a Panasonic Q to solve shape compatibility issues with a GB player, Game Boy player. Another questions the need for a disc when playing on the GB player. In the Death Immortal's Life is a 1-2 punch corner, the Immortal's thoughts on life. A reader mentions discovering Into N's green leaf essence,
a questionable juice resembling Zelda.
Another Q&A discusses the data format within a code, explaining how data is transmitted as electrical signals, using binary code, 0s and 1s. It uses ADSL 12 mega internet connection for an example. The Immortal comments on stock prices, and the question of what lies beyond the period. Finally, the page ends with another reader question asking for the meaning behind the phrase, time is money. This page is titled, Treasure Game Collection, Initiation. The article highlights Wagyan Land, on the Famicom, a game from 1989, and a request from a reader in Fukui Prefecture, Mr. Seichiro Gotoshima. The author reflects on the recent trend of complex games, and how Wagyan Land stands out for its simplicity and enjoyable gameplay. You can't defeat enemies. Instead, you must stun them with a sound wave attack.
You can progress to new stages by winning minigames like Shiratori.
It is based on Super Mario, and games of the time would often decorate games using this formula. There are screenshots of the game, some of the power-ups, and the world map. There are also screenshots of the sequels, including Wagyan Land 2 and Wagyan Land 3, which features a 2-player Shiratori mode. The next page showcases the Game Software Fan Club section from the magazine Nindori Gakuen. It includes reader submissions and fan art related to various games, including Pokemon and Kirby. The section opens with general announcements, commenting on the amount of submissions they receive, and promising to read them all. There are fan submissions about Pokemon, particularly regarding favorite Pokemon like Kaimecho and fan-made Pokemon contest ideas. Another section focuses on Kirby, featuring fan art of Kirby in Super Deluxe, and Kirby's Air Ride, with readers sharing their thoughts and techniques for the game. The page also includes other fan art and comments on games like Animal Crossing, with readers discussing their experiences and favorite aspects of the games. In addition, there is art of various characters in Pokemon, as well as reader-made characters. There are comments about the games and the artists who created the artwork. This page continues with the Game Software Fan Club section from Nindori Gakuen, featuring reader submissions and fan art. The Legend of Zelda section is prominent, with various readers sharing their impressions of The Wind Waker. Some mention the emotional impact of the game and characters, particularly Tetra's transformation into Zelda. There's also fan art and comments on other Zelda titles. Moving on, there's a Golden Sun section, showcasing fan art and reader thoughts about the game, including comments on characters like Mia. A Ganbare Goemon section also appears, with fan art and comments. The Mario section features fan-made artwork and ideas, including a Mario Party 4 gift concept. There's also fan art related to Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario Land 2-6 golden coins, with Wario as a prominent character in the submissions. Finally, there's a section discussing the topic of alchemy in Golden Sun, with a reader sharing their knowledge and interest in the subject. The next page showcases various fan submissions and sections dedicated to different games. The Star Fox Club features fan art and reader comments about the series, including Star Fox Adventure. There's discussion about potential characters for a Super Smash Bros. Game and reactions to the graphics in Star Fox Adventures. One submission questions the possibility of a new installment, given comments from Masahiro Sakurai. The Mother Club includes fan art and reader opinions about the Mother series. Some express their fondness for certain characters and their desire for a remake of Mother 1 and 2. One person even shares the most hated enemy from Mother 2 is Gegi. There are also questions about when Mother 3 will be released. The Smash Bros. DX Club shows fan-created characters and scenarios within the game. There are several submissions and ideas for characters. There is a mention of a camera mode for the game.
The next page features various reader submission corners focusing on different games, starting with Fire Emblem, where readers share their excitement for the series, particularly for newcomers, praising its engaging story. The Metroid Club includes fan comments and art, with one person expressing their love for the Fusion and Prime games due to their captivating stories. The Turnabout Trial Club showcases fan art and comments about the Ace Attorney series, showing reader love for the characters. The Phantasy Star Online Club features fan-created characters and discussions about the game, with the party edit style in mind. The Sonic Club highlights the return of Sonic on TV, with a new anime series and merchandise. Fans express excitement and hope for a revival of the series. The page also includes a section called Stolen Heroine, featuring fan art. Finally, there's a corner with information on upcoming deadlines for submissions to the magazine.
This page introduces Descending Lady's Peak of Happiness, a new series featuring art by Harunoto Chi. Descending Lady is a mysterious woman described as a disciple of Descending, with her profile revealing she lives on a mountain and enjoys eating freshly cooked rice and playing games like Animal Crossing Plus. She is seeking questions from readers for the magazine. The page includes reader questions, such as what a monster ball is like inside, answered with humor. There is also a fan illustration of Descending in Super Saiyan form. The page continues with the editorial department column, where the editors discuss their experiences, including a funny story about a trip to Saipan. They mention a small tank toy, Combat Digi-Q, that allows for up to 4 player battles. There is also a staff profile for reporter Sakai Kazuya. A Nintendo Dream Around the World article discusses the auspicious release of the Game Boy Advance SP, noting its scarcity and difficulty finding headphone adapters. Simultaneous releases of popular games like The Wind Waker, Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, and Sim People are mentioned.
Burnout 2 was cancelled in Japan. The author praises Made in Wario for capturing the spirit of classic Nintendo games, and wonders about its overseas reception. News snippets mention potential GameCube collaborations with ATI Technologies and Factor 5, the latter potentially working on a new Rogue Squadron game. Finally, the author highlights the addictive nature of Mojipitan Advance, suggesting its gameplay could aid Japanese language learning. This page of the Tenon family manga features the family dealing with seasonal allergies and being stuck inside due to pollen. The mom is suffering and sneezing a lot. They decide to play a board game, specifically Catan, Settlers of Catan. The kids are not excited about Mom-Made Game 2. One character thinks Catan looks interesting. They ponder the rules. The group consists of only 3 people, so they are forced to include Saupan, the editor, who bring a box of chocolates and is welcomed in. The next page of the Tenon family manga shows them playing Catan. Someone rolls a 6, which means resources are produced. The mom gets wood from her house. They build roads with wood and dirt, and the construction battle between Saupan and the mom continues. Saupan's empire is completed, and the mom builds her empire too, leading to invasion. The mom doesn't want to allow Saupan to win and demands another game. At some point, Animal wins, having reached 10 points, and demands they go outside. The final panel mentions that the animal was caught up with Catan. This page lists upcoming GameCube and Game Boy Advance release schedules. GameCube releases. April. Highlights include Dokapon DX, Naruto, Clash of Ninja, and several variations of Ohen Rosen, Pilgrimage games. Giftpia is also listed. May, Rune 2, and Special Jinsei game, a life simulation game, are mentioned, along with Family Stadium 2003. June. Chibi Robo, Frogger, and Beautiful Joe are listed. Later releases, Enter the Matrix, Sonic Adventure DX, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and Zero GC are noted, with many titles marked as tentative or coming soon. Winter 2003 Future mentions future releases like Killer 7, 1080° Silverstorm, Mario Tennis GC, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, a new Ridge Racer title, and Animal Crossing. Game Boy Advance releases. April includes Yu-Gi-Oh! Angel Collection, Zoid Saga 2, and Metabots core versions. May features Rockman 02 and Hamster Club. Later releases includes Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow, Totoko Hamtaro 4, Metal Max 2, and other upcoming titles. Games listed for future releases include Shining Soul 2, Sonic Pinball Party, Boktai, and Metal Slug Advance. Game Boy Color releases: April, Doraemon Study Boy. May, Kanji Boy 3, Card E-Reader releases. Mentioned are 2 card games, Game & Watch Card E, and Mario Party Card E. This page is a survey form from Nintendo Dream magazine. It includes questions about the reader's demographics, favorite games, and opinions on the magazine's content and included gifts. Readers are asked about their school or occupation, age, gender, and which magazines they read. They're also asked for their favorite GameCube game, from a list of 100 titles released at the time, and what game console they plan to buy next. There are tables for readers to indicate their favorite and least favorite articles from the magazine. Finally, they can share their thoughts on the Warriors Strap 2 bonus item. The next page features a section called Muscle's Flower Garden, featuring an interview with Muscle Igari, a pro wrestler, and the manga artist, Muscle-chan, and their opinions on obscure sports and teams. Igari expresses sadness over the death of pro wrestler Mitsuharu Misawa. He then lists famous wrestlers, and Chan talks about a fan who made fun of a soccer player's hairstyle and his preference for FC Tokyo. The two debate minor sports. The bottom half of the page includes a Nintendo Muscle Questionnaire, Volume 88, with fields for readers to fill in their personal information and opinions, similar to the previous page. The right side of the page lists prizes for winners of Volume 85 of the Nintendo Dream magazine. The prizes include a Nintendo GameCube console, a Game Boy Advance SP console, signed memorabilia, and various Game Boy Advance games. Some of the games and items include Pocket Monster illustrations, a Metroid Prime and Fusion poster, the King of Games t-shirts, wireless controllers, and an FFTA trading pin badge collection. This page celebrates the 100th title released for the Nintendo GameCube. The page includes a collage of character portraits like Luigi, a Pikmin, Kirby, Fox McCloud, Sonic, and characters from other games. The page highlights that on April 10th, the GameCube reached 100 release titles. It encourages readers to look back at the road the console has taken since its launch 1 year and 7 months ago. The next page announces that the Nintendo GameCube has reached 100 titles, with Dokapon DX Journey Across the World as the 100th game. The page includes the game cover. It then shows a month-by-month breakdown of GC software releases, highlighting that while the launch titles were few, the catalog steadily grew, with a surge in releases towards the end of the year. The page also showcases various GameCube peripherals like the Game Boy Player, the Soul Calibur 2 arcade stick, the standard controller, Wavebird wireless controller, and the console itself in different colors. There is also mention of other accessories like memory cards, AV cables, the broadband adapter, and the keyboard controller. Additionally, items like the GC Station Rack, Cube Black R, and Disc Case 6 are listed, along with the prices for each item. This page celebrates the GameCube reaching 100 titles and provides a snapshot of some key games released during the console's early years, particularly from fall 2001 to winter 2002. It highlights Super Smash Bros. Melee as a major hit that drove hardware sales. The page features game summaries, reviewer quotes, and Akiba no Suba prices from Akihabara shops. Games spotlighted include Luigi's Mansion with reviewers praising its graphics and gameplay, Super Monkey Ball, a fun party game, Wave Race, Blue Storm noted for its racing action, Pikmin praised for its unique gameplay mechanics, FIFA 2002 Road to FIFA World Cup, and Universal Studios Japan Adventure. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. The next page features a collection of GameCube game reviews and information. First up is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, a 3D shooting game where you pilot an X-Wing in iconic battles, with the reviewer praising its faithful recreation of the Star Wars universe. Next is Battle Feng Shen, an action game set in ancient China, based on the novel Investiture of the Gods, where players can acquire treasures and features Dynasty Warrior-style action with flashy magic attacks. Bloody Roar Extreme, a fighting game where characters transform into beasts, is also featured,
The reviewer notes its high quality despite its potentially odd premise. The page also includes a review of 2002 FIFA World Cup, the official video game for the tournament. Crazy Taxi makes an appearance, tasking players with delivering passengers in a speedy yellow cab while earning tips. Bomberman Generation offers both a story mode and a battle mode, with the reviewer emphasizing the fun of multiplayer matches. Lastly, Capcom vs. SNK2 brings together popular characters from both fighting game franchises, with simplified controls for newcomers, a reviewer expressing nostalgia for the era of 2D fighting games. A column highlights the top 10 best-selling GameCube titles. Super Smash Bros. Melee takes the top spot, followed by Mario Party 4 and The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Other games include Super Mario Sunshine, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, Pikmin, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil, and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This GameCube page features previews and reviews of various games. Baseball titles like GQ Powerful Pro Yaku 9 and All-Star Baseball 2003 are highlighted, along with beach volleyball, Beach Spikers, an adventure game based on a toy, Mutsu to Hohan, and a dungeon crawler RPG, Shin Kidu Senki Gundam Wing, Endless Duel. Other games include a board game, Disney's Magical Park, a mahjong game, Kyokugen Mahjong DX2, an adventure game, Mickey Mouse no Fushigi Nakagami, a tennis game, WTA Tour Tennis Pro Evolution, a fighting game, UFC 2 Tap Out Final Spec, and an action game, Zoids vs. Finally, Disney Sports Soccer and Super Mario Sunshine are also reviewed. A Japanese magazine previewed various GameCube games for fall/winter 2002-2003, highlighting a robust lineup. Games featured included racing, 18-wheeler, soccer, Captain Tsubasa, horror, Eternal Darkness, skateboarding, Disney Sports, puzzle, Eggerland, ZooCube, RPG, Phantasy Star Online Episode 9 and E, billiards, Pool Edge, sports, Sega Soccer Slam and Wrestling, WrestleMania X8, and action-adventure, Star Fox Adventures. The magazine also noted the GameCube's rapid title accumulation, reaching 100 games in 1 year and 7 months, contrasting with other consoles. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. This page features a selection of GameCube games, including Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters Melee, Godzilla and King Ghidorah Control, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker Exploring is Key, Sonic Mega Collection, 7 classic Sonic games, Bomberman Jetters, Bomberman Action, Eternal Arcadia Legends RPG, Evolution Skateboarding Pro Skaters, Disney Sports, American Football and Basketball, Power Pro Baseball 9, Choro Q, Toy Car Racing, Beyblade 2002, Battling Tops, Tetris Worlds, Classic Tetris with Additions, Mr. Driller Drill Land, Drilling Action, Top Gun, Combat Zones, Top Gun Missions, and Space Raiders, Fixed Screen Shooter. The next page showcases a variety of GameCube titles. First up is Ikaruga, a shoot-'em-up where you can absorb bullets of the same polarity to power up. It features a conquest mode that slows the game speed. Next, Resident Evil 3. Last Escape stars Jill Valentine and brings the nemesis to the GameCube. Also shown is Resident Evil 2, where you can play as Leon S. Kennedy or Claire Redfield, with puzzles that require using both characters. Winning 11-6 Final Evolution is highlighted as a top-tier soccer game, featuring national and club teams, plus a Master League mode. Nintendo Puzzle Collection includes Drive Mario, Yoshi's Cookie, and Panel de Pon, Tetris Attack. With new features and 4-player battles, Spider-Man lets you swing and web-sling through a movie-based story. Super Puzzle Bobble All-Stars involves shooting bubbles, matching 3 or more, and has a 4-player versus mode. Metroid Prime shifts the perspective to first person, plunging you into the world as Samus Aran, Lord of the Rings. The Two Towers is based on the first 2 films, letting you choose from 3 characters to battle with various weapons. Finally, Mega Man Battle Network Transmission sees Mega Man and Lan exploring the digital world to combat the Zero virus. This GameCube catalog page highlights various games with brief descriptions and reviewer comments. Zero Fighter Gekitsui Senki, a historical Japanese warplane shooter, and Baseball 2003, a realistic baseball sim, are featured. Star Wars. Clone Wars offers Jedi Commander control, while Hikaru no Go 3 provides portable board game play. Batman. Dark Tomorrow showcases Batman gadgets, and Warrior Blade. Rastan vs. Barbarian allows up to 8 players in battle royales. PN.03, a stylish action game with Vanessa, and Soul Calibur 2 with Link are also noted. Sherman King Soul Fight draws on manga/anime, and Dokapon DX involves stealing and defending. Cancelled titles like Grand Heat, Evolution Snowboarding, Donkey Kong Racing, Gold Mountain, and NBA Live 2003 are mentioned. The next page is a queue and a section called Ask Nintendo, where readers can ask questions to the company. It features a character data file on KK Slider from Animal Crossing, Toteke in Japanese, noting his appearances in the N64 version and his role as a street musician with 55 songs. One reader asks about the impact of the Iraq War on Nintendo. The response states that while war is sad, the impact on Nintendo and the game industry is unclear. They do note that sales remain strong even after the 9/11 attacks. The article mentions the cancellation of the Major League Baseball opening series in Japan due to the war, affecting the former Nintendo president's plans to watch the game in person. Additionally, it mentions that GB player sales are doing well, and that the Game Boy Advance SP is selling well in Japan, Europe, and the US. There is also a photo of a Nintendo 64 game display with Mario characters. A reader queue and a section highlights reader interest in upcoming E3 titles, Pokemon overseas releases, specifically Ruby and Sapphire, and the potential for a Mario Artist series on the GameCube. Nintendo noted positive sales of the Pokemon games in America and the GB player, which sold out quickly in 4 color options. The discussion also touched on Super Smash Bros. DX and potential sequels, with Sakurai's focus on Kirby's Air Ride. The page concludes with images of Trico, American spelling, and a team photo. The next page is a queue and a section titled Ask Nintendo, where readers submit questions. Question 6. A reader asks why the older brother character in the Game Boy player commercials has a wrinkled shirt. Nintendo responds that they are paying attention to detail and that the shirt has a special shearing process for a stylish look. The commercials use the song Starting New Game Style.
Question 7. A reader asks for behind-the-scenes stories about the WarioWare, Inc. Mega Micro Games commercials. Nintendo replies that they received positive feedback and used footage of 5 groups out of 228 people who auditioned. They aim to capture the natural fun of playing the game with friends, using ordinary people instead of actors. Question 8. A reader asks what the Fire Emblem Rekka no Ken, Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade, commercial is like. Nintendo says it will be a departure from previous series commercials, appealing to a wider audience, with accessible gameplay and challenging elements. The commercial focuses on portraying the emotional impact on the player. Question 9. A reader asks about the link between Zero GC and AC Arcade. Nintendo says more information will be revealed at E3. The page includes images from the commercials and games discussed, including a photo of the Fire Emblem commercial set and character art of Wario. There are also smaller notes about TV advertising and promotions in trains, as well as comments on the music in Fire Emblem commercials. This page contains a queue and a section, and several games are mentioned. The first question is about when Game & Watch card e-reader cards will be released. Nintendo responds, stating that they will be released soon, not only for Game & Watch, but also for Mario Party Card E's as well. The Card e-reader new version is connected to the GameCube and Game Boy Advance SP. The second question asks why the 0 rating is on software. Nintendo states that it is there as a guideline when purchasing software. 0 is an organization that rates games. The 0 rating organization consists of all ages, 12 and over, 15 and over, 18 and over, and education and database. The page also shows the 0AC arcade, cabinet, license card, and the 0GC version, and also has an image of a fan drawing. Games mentioned include 0AC, Mario Party, Game & Watch, Fire Emblem, Rekka no Ken, The Blazing Blade, WarioWare, Inc., Mega Micro Games, 0GC, Soul Calibur 2. This page is dedicated to user-created content for Animal Crossing.
The page highlights a village showcase festival, featuring in-game creations submitted by players. There is a section titled Sakura Melody, which describes how listening to the Cherry Blossom song brings a sense of peacefulness. The page then showcases a user-submitted short film called Animal Crossing Petite Movie by Yoshio from Hokkaido. It describes that the short has elements of Animal Crossing language and HOI from the game. Screenshots from the film are presented, showcasing the characters Kenta and Tanukichi, Tom Nook, along with short lines of dialogue. This page looks back at the development of Animal Crossing on the Nintendo 64. It revisits events like the Nintendo Space World exhibitions in 2000 and 2001. It describes the various seasonal events and how players could choose different rooms, such as a music-themed room filled with Haniwa figures. The page also mentions the release of the Animal Crossing controller pack with the N64 game in April 2001, and the enhanced version, Animal Crossing Plus, on the GameCube in December 2001. It highlights new features like island connectivity with the Game Boy Advance. There's also a small section dedicated to fan submissions for Animal Crossing 2, showcasing drawings and ideas from players. One fan suggests adding hanging furniture like posters and clocks, while another hopes for a GameCube version that plays on a TV shaped like an apple. Finally, there is a contest for the Let's Make a Forest series of Animal Crossing goods. There is a prize advertised, which is a GameCube bag. To enter, users can send in photos or videos of villages, layouts, and family fun in the game. They can also photograph a forest that is handmade. A Star Fox Adventures Tea will be awarded, and the cutoff date is end of the month. The next page is from the fictional Trancel Town information page, and it presents the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire official music CD, launching on April 26th. The CD, titled Music Super Complete, contains all the music from the game, with a 24-page booklet. There are 106 tracks, plus bonus tracks. Below this is an advert promoting the Pokemon TV anime theme song collection, Perfect Best, 19,972,003, which includes 19 songs and a 40-page booklet. It's releasing on April 23rd. A track list is provided and contains various theme songs such as Advance Adventure, Ready Go, Mezase Pokemon Master, and others. Lastly, there is a section where Trancel Town picks their personal music rankings. They are Friend Shop, Battle, Wild Pokemon, and Title Main Theme. The Pokemon Do page discusses the highly anticipated Jirachi movie, noting a lack of new information but speculation about a major reveal around its summer release. A screenshot from the games highlights Pokemon catch counts and features Mudkip, Torchic, and others. Jirachi's absence from the games, unlike other mythical Pokemon, is noted, raising questions about its potential distribution through events. The page also promotes Gold and Silver DVD Volumes 12 and 13, highlighting the story's climax. The Pokemon Center promo features phone numbers and addresses, alongside a section showcasing stylish Pikachu-themed wristbands and fingerbands. Finally, a Pokemon episode column features a personal anecdote about the author's fear of birds in video games, particularly relating to chickens in Zelda and Dragon Quest. Capcom Mania Volume 16 features Capcom's upcoming Nintendo GameCube games, a collaboration with Nintendo Dream. The issue highlights 5 exclusive GameCube titles revealed at a November Tokyo event, including a new Resident Evil game, and 4 others. Details include Page 10.03, a shooting game with a female mercenary, and Beautiful Joe, an action game where Joe saves his girlfriend from a movie screen. Other titles are Dead Phoenix, a resurrected hero story, Killer 7, a hard-boiled adventure with multiple personalities, and Resident Evil 4, focusing on the T-Virus's origins. The feature also showcases development staff, including directors of each title. The next page is a Capcom advert for ringtones, wallpapers, and a iMode release of Final Fight on Japanese mobile phones. Final Fight is available on iMode Mobile, where you play as Cody, Guy, or Hager to take down the Mad Gear Gang. Completing the game unlocks Zakody from Street Fighter Zero, and beating it as Zakody unlocks Zagai. There are screenshots of the game and a character portrait. Below this are adverts for Capcom merchandise, including Biohazard, Resident Evil, fair until April 20th, with new and popular goods, including character watches and a free cleaner strap with purchases over 5,000 yen. The Biohazard list watches are the GSX 102 RPD1 and GSX 102 RPD2, priced at 10,000 yen each, and there is a selection of Biohazard t-shirts for 3,800 yen each in sizes M/TL. Also shown is a Rockman Zero, Megaman Zero, bandana for 500 yen. To the right is a navigator for eCapcom, Kana Urasawa, and some fan art. This page is a Sega content page, featuring a new Sega game and some fan mail. The page focuses on the Sonic X theme song recording, featuring an interview with Hironobu Kageyama and Hideaki Takatori, who performed the song Sonic Drive for the TV anime. The article includes images of Sonic and Chris and shots from the recording studio. The page also includes a fan mail section called Sega Tama, where readers send in illustrations, questions, and opinions to Sega. There is fan art of games such as Super Monkey Ball, and a letter from a reader hoping for a Virtua Fighter Quest remake. The next page is a manga excerpt titled Arcadia, a recurring feature. It's the second installment by author Hoshiki. The story revolves around characters navigating a world of floating islands, where walking is impossible. The main mode of transportation is a ship, but the characters are prone to motion sickness and require bamboo bags. The manga references ship battles with customizable equipment. There is mention of focusing on crew members with strong attack power to concentrate firepower. There is a reference to fighting giant creatures. This page showcases fan-submitted artwork under the title Mario Support Squad. The page features various illustrations of video game characters and scenes. One section highlights art of characters from Fire Emblem. Rekka no Ken, the Blazing Blade, with a portrait of Eliwood. The reviewer mentions that the artist was requested to also draw Dark Link and Tetra in the style of the Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time. Also another request of a Flazero drawing. Another section features an upcoming New Testament Sword of Mana illustration, which is in development and the reviewer is looking forward to its release. Also a fan art of characters appearing in Maiden Wario. There's an image of 4 links from the 4 swords. In a battle strategy meeting, there is a cute Wind Waker scene including Link and a Oink. The page also has fan art of the character Hedonus and enemies from Earthbound, Mother 2. Finally, there is fan art of characters from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. This page showcases fan-submitted artwork under the title Mario Sinatai Shift into Gear. A variety of video game fan art is presented, featuring both characters and game scenes. The page displays artwork of Zero, with a note about the title phrase, Shift into Gear, implying putting the pedal to the metal and full throttle, Metroid Prime with Samus Aran in a black Phazon suit, and The Legend of Zelda, with a nod to the GBA version of the Triforce. Artwork of Falcon from an unknown game in the page. Another Zelda piece in the style of Alphonse Mucha Art Nouveau. The artist is a fan of the Zelda games on the GBAs. Some fan art of the characters from Fire Emblem, the Sacred Stones, with an artist stating they were playing the GBA version. And there is also Pikmin S in a flower garden. The general selection section includes art from The Lord of the Rings, showing Legolas, Aragorn, Frodo, and Gandalf. Additional fan art highlights titles like Zero, a cute illustration of characters from The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, and characters from Kinnikuman. The Collaborations Heart section shows collaborative works from various artists, including characters from Final Fantasy and Fatal Fury. A group shot of characters from various games. This page features a collection of fan-submitted 4-panel comics, 4 Coma Apartment, themed around video games. Comics include Link wanting to be a robot, a Pokemon trainer sending a mysterious letter, a Dragon Warrior shop selling an expensive sword, and costume changes in Resident Evil. Other strips feature Samus Aran as a baby and high schooler, Zelda falling, an exaggerated drunkard, Kirby questioning his cuteness, and a character struggling to name a cat, referencing Animal Crossing. The Illustration High-Rise Apartment page features fan art inspired by various video games. Artwork includes Talim from Soul Calibur 2, Carmelian, Super Mario movie characters, and The Ancient One. Other pieces depict a new school year, collaborative works, gameplay scenes, and characters from Dragon Slayers, Maiden Wario, Golden Sun, and Fire Emblem. There's also art of Link, Zelda, Roll from Mega Man, Wind Waker characters, and a toddler version of several iconic characters. Each piece includes the artist's comments and location. This page, titled Mario Sinatai, presents fan art submissions under the theme Future Prediction Drawings. The first row features a stained glass style artwork of characters from The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker by Kujira from Okayama, a family portrait featuring characters from Mother 2, Earthbound, by Kyoko from Gifu Prefecture, adult versions of Medley and Komali from The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker by Achihiroro from Tochigi Prefecture, Mario and Yoshi artwork by Marika Shogun from Saitama Prefecture, envisioning Yoshi's popularity soaring with the ability to fly without causing pollution. The second row displays more diverse fan art, including Pokemon Crystal, Medley, Rockman X3 for GBA, Star Fox, Link and Zelda, and other submissions with varied artistic styles and interpretations of the future. Finally, the bottom row includes more submissions, including artwork featuring Fire Emblem, Kirby 64, and Zelda. A section at the bottom celebrates the first publication haul, showcasing artists whose work is featured for the first time in the magazine. This page is another section dedicated to fan submissions, this time themed around The Wind of Emotion for issue 90 and The Road We've Walked for issue 91. The page showcases fan art from various age groups, including an under 10 years old section featuring drawings of Pokemon and Mario characters. There's also a fan letter section where readers express their love for illustrations. The reviewer comments on the creativity and humor found in the fan art. The page also includes information about submitting artwork for future issues, including guidelines for size and content, ending with an advert for Nindori magazine. It mentions games such as Pokemon and The Legend of Zelda, and includes fan art of Mario and other popular Nintendo characters. The page also lists a large number of people who are adopted into the Shinaitai. The next page features an article about the game Vex for the Nintendo GameCube, calling it a Bowser Club favorite choice. It's described as a 3D action game in the vein of Mario 64, and the reviewer was impressed with its quality and engaging gameplay. The page includes screenshots of Vex in action, showcasing its platforming and combat mechanics. The reviewer praises the game's user-friendly design and overall enjoyable experience, even comparing it favorably to Beautiful Joe in terms of control. They suggest it might even be a true evolution of the Mario 64 formula. The next page is an article detailing the world of Vex, noting that it has over 9 diverse worlds with impressive level design. The changing scenery and diverse stages, including deserts, ice, and magma, are highlighted, drawing comparisons to Mario 64. The reviewer believes fans of N64-era 3D action games will certainly enjoy it. Screenshots display various levels and gameplay mechanics, such as navigating floating islands, underwater stages, and a bizarre piano level. There's also mention of entering a 2D side-scrolling stage within a painting. The article further touches upon the challenging monsters, including one tied to a post who retaliates when approached. The reviewer mentions that the monsters' appearances and strengths change between day and night, reminding them of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. There is a small section which mentions a shriek creature. Finally, the review highlights the game's user-friendly design, specifically praising the helpful waypoints for collecting items. The reviewer concludes by enthusiastically requesting a Japanese localization of the game. This page is a comedic comic strip about making a Bowser movie. The first step is to gather staff. Bowser thinks they need actors but feels the Nintendo characters are lacking in the heroine department, referencing Peach and Daisy. They then try to get Link to perform some acrobatics. Next, they ask Fox McCloud to step in for some reason, and someone asks about using SFX, special effects technology, because it's Star Fox. The next page is another comedic comic strip about the production of Bowser's movie. The characters discuss filming with a blue screen, and someone remarks that the actors look like Power Rangers. There's a comment that the jokes might not be understood by Nintendo readers. Link is appointed as the assistant director and tasked with buying lunch, while others make vague offers of help. The comic ends with a shot of Bowser playing a Legend of Zelda game on a handheld console, having cleared it, and the title of the movie is Made in Link. The next page is a game guide titled Emergency Directive! Conquer Sound Bomber, which focuses on providing tips and strategies for the minigame Sound Bomber, found within the Polygon Studio game for the 64DD. The page jokingly claims that the guide is only useful to Nindori readers, poking fun at the magazine itself. The guide breaks down the enemy's movement patterns, which include moving straight, stopping and then moving, and jumping. The key strategy is to pay attention to the enemy's tells and jump accordingly. Other section focuses on shooting enemies that are floating around the screen, advising players to prioritize the third enemy that emerges from off-screen. The guide also covers a roulette minigame, cautioning players not to be fooled by the seemingly important placement of polygon characters, and suggesting they concentrate on the white triangles in the background for timing. The final minigame, Speedball Match, instructs players to focus on the center of the screen and react quickly to hit the incoming polygon characters. This Polygon Studio 64DD minigame page provides tips for block drop, focus on horizontal movement, race, avoid obstacles, prioritize split-second decisions, maze, cautious navigation, adjust speed with the 3D stick, and fly swatter, predict movements. Double hits are key. A final section, let's try various experiments. Quote, shows character size doesn't affect gameplay, and the reviewer humorously notes that luck is paramount in the games. Strategies are discouraged, with a focus on the game's moral nature and daily actions. The next page features a DryTech Hall of Fame special edition focusing on glitches and techniques in The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. The first tip, submitted by a player named Blood from Oita Prefecture, involves using bombs to continuously explode inside the Terry shop, much to the shopkeeper's dismay. Another technique from Kumatori Takeshi from Hokkaido shows using a seagull to fly inside the island interior, which is empty. You can fly outside the walls to see the back world. The reviewer notes that this technique takes advantage of bugs in the game. This page showcases more glitches and techniques for The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. The first technique is titled Catching Seagulls with Parasols, involving using a HYOI pair to lure a seagull into the central part of a parasol on a specific island, causing it to get stuck. The tip notes that if you miss, you waste one HYOI pair. The second technique, leaving treasure chest light behind, is a salvage trick. While raising a treasure chest from the sea with a grappling hook, you can press the R button to move forward, leaving the light from the chest behind on the surface while you sail on to grab the treasure. The page also highlights strange messages encountered in the game. For example, when trying to show a pictograph to a man in front of the bomb shop on Windfall Island, a seemingly unrelated message appears. The reviewer finds it odd and comments on a potential error message related to Tingle appearing in an unexpected context, joking about whether Tingle is a middle-aged man who admires fairies. The page concludes by advising players to remove their memory card when trying these techniques. This Zelda, The Wind Waker guide provides several tips and tricks. Quickly obtain 6 heart containers by repeatedly digging for them on Outset Island, ignoring the first one. Steal Zelda's heart with the hookshot during the final battle. Use Windfall Island rafters to stay underwater indefinitely. In the Pigarding minigame, toss a pig in the water to collect them faster. For the auction, bid aggressively, then bid again at the last second. Deflect Phantom Ganon's magic with a bottle, then switch to your sword. Infinitely shoot building walls with arrows. Finally, throw meddling against a Dragon Roost Island wall to trigger a dialogue change. The next page features Wind Tactic Revival, highlighting lesser-known techniques in Zelda, The Wind Waker, such as how pigs will attack if provoked. Tips include using the grappling hook on Pow to make him disappear, deflecting attacks using spin attacks, using a seagull to fly over the sea after using a HYOI pair fruit, freezing enemies and smashing them to smithereens, and floating pots on top of hot springs. It also shows a merchant using a Deku leaf and Zelda's sister attacking pots. The page then invites submissions for the Dream Technique section, offering prizes based on the quality of the submitted technique. The page features a section called Double Plays Hall, which includes 2 reader submissions. One submission titled Fighting with Makor from Zelda, The Wind Waker, discusses strategies for using Makar, the Korok character, to fight enemies, and another submission titled Event L50 Fastest Clear and Funny Photo from Super Smash Bros. DX shares tips for achieving fast clear times in event mode, noting the use of camera mode for humorous shots. This page showcases Zoid Saga 2 for the Game Boy Advance, an RPG focused on Zoid battles and customization, including over 140 Zoids. You play as Zell and customize your Zoids with weapons and upgrades to win battles. The page shows that the player will be able to freely customize and change the colors of the Zoids. The combat system uses deck commands, which include attacks like Arrow Phalanx. It also features Zazoid combinations, like Griffon and Killer Dome, which require specific Zasoid placement. The next page introduces more elements of Zoid Saga 2, focusing on changing armor during battle, specifically for the Liger Zero and Berserk Führer Zoids. You can fully customize them with different equipment. The page also details the organoid growth system, where partnering Zoids with organoids can power them up, and their abilities will change based on dialogue choices. Original characters from the game are highlighted, including Zell, a Zoid warrior, and Yugano. Also featured are characters from the anime, like Ban, Fine, BitCloud, and Atli, the Prince of Arcadias. The story involves a distortion of spacetime, leading Zell to team up with others to confront the Backdraft group. This page is an advertisement for Dokapon DX, Wataru Sekai wa Oni Darake for the GameCube, scheduled for release on April 10th. The game is described as a friendship-destroying board game, where players compete to get degs while sabotaging their rivals. It outlines the basic gameplay loop, determining starting points, spinning a roulette to move, and defeating bosses to get degs. The page also highlights item acquisition, various map events, and the potential to hire a killer to target rivals. The next page features 2 Game Boy Advance games. The first game is Metaro 2 Core, a robot battling RPG where you assemble robots called Metarotes. The page details the gameplay flow, which involves moving towards the center of the screen and attacking. The head part is critical. Losing it means defeat. You can customize your Metaro with different parts to enhance its abilities and battle opponents in a school setting, and face rivals. The second game is Angel Collection, Aim for Fashion Leader in School, a fashion simulation game. The main character attends a mission-based school and aims to win fashion contests with the help of her friends. Gameplay involves customizing outfits, hairstyles, and makeup, sending emails to friends, and playing mini-games to unlock new fashion items. The game offers over 300 clothing customization parts. The next page introduces Tales of Fantasia for the Game Boy Advance, highlighting it as a revival of the series' origin with added elements. The game, initially released on the Super Famicom, retains its core systems and detailed graphics, while introducing new features, characters, and extras. The story focuses on Cress Albine, a kind young man whose village is destroyed, prompting his journey to seek answers regarding a pendant. Mint Adnade, a modest yet strong-willed heroine, supports him with her healing and support magic. The game features real-time character control, a departure from command-based battles. Players directly control the protagonist, while other characters fight automatically. The battlefields are wide and displayed on a single screen. Players can preset tactics for their characters. Screenshots display locations, dungeons, and battle scenes, showing characters in combat. The page mentions that up to 4 characters can engage in battle, with Mint's signature Pico Hammer attack receiving a significant upgrade. This page is an advert for Metroid guidebooks, one for Metroid Prime on the GameCube and another for the Metroid series on the Game Boy Advance. The larger book is for Metroid Prime, and the smaller one is for Metroid Fusion. The Metroid Prime Guide, a B5 size book at 144 pages, promises 100% clear walkthroughs with maps tailored to power-ups, explaining how to acquire missile tanks and energy tanks, and showcasing complete item collection and scan points to unlock gallery images. The Metroid Fusion Guide, and a 5-size book at 160 pages, provides a 2-hour 100% completion walkthrough, featuring the shortest routes and detailed maps, as well as strategies for defeating bosses efficiently. It also features complete coverage of monster characteristics and tactics. Additionally, the page highlights content from Nindori.com, which contains additional tips, tricks, and content. Listed are some highly rated Nintendo GameCube and Game Boy Advance games, with their prices. Some of them are Luigi's Mansion, Wave Race, Blue Storm, Pikmin, Super Smash Bros., Melee, Animal Crossing Plus, Animal Leader, Doshin the Giant, Super Mario Sunshine, Star Fox Adventures, Eternal Darkness, Invitation to Nightmare, Mario Party 4, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, and Metroid Prime. Also included are some Game Boy Advance titles such as Super Mario Advance, Tactics Ogre, The Knight of Lotus, Mario Kart Advance, Golden Sun, Wario Land Advance, Magical Vacation, and Super Mario Advance 2 and Metroid Fusion. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. Dream Magazine's GameCube page previews upcoming titles, including simulation games like Rosen Departures Dojo, and Chibi-Robo. 3D shooting games like Dead Phoenix and Dragon Drive are also highlighted. Racing games, F-Zero GC, GT Cube, and Ridge Racer are featured, along with sports titles like Family Stadium 2003 and Mario Golf GC. Other genres include RPGs, snowboarding, and a sequel to Animal Forest. The page also notes release dates and status updates for some titles, and tracks publisher release counts, with Konami leading the way. The next page advertises the next issue, Volume 89 of Nintendo Dream, scheduled for release on April 21st. It features a developer interview for Fire Emblem, along with new information on upcoming titles like Shinyaku Seiken Densetsu and other new games. The right side of the page has an advert for Super Game Boy 2, which allowed you to play Game Boy games on the Super Famicom. There's also a World of Flyers number 016 section, focusing on this peripheral from 1998. The staff list includes names like Sho Yamamori as editor-in-chief, Akihiko Sao as editor, and Toshihiro Takashima as deputy editor-in-chief. There are many more names listed as editors and contributors. In the editor's voice section, various editors share their thoughts on different topics. One editor talks about the war and world events from their childhood, while others mention games like Bokujo Monogatari, Story of Seasons, and their experiences with GBASP, and other miscellaneous personal experiences and observations. At the bottom, contact information is listed for sending letters and emails to the magazine. This page is an advertisement for the Simple 2960 Tamagotchi series for the Game Boy Advance, published by D3 Publisher. It highlights 2 games in the series, each costing 2,960 yen. The first game is the Table Game Collection, featuring classic table games like Mahjong, Shogi, Hanafuda, and Reversi. It supports 14 players. The second game is the Block Kuzushi Breakout, which features over 240 block patterns and 4 game modes. Game modes like Tokoten, Trial, Normal Battle, and Weiwei Battle accommodate 14 players, with options for single-player and multiplayer experiences. The advert emphasizes that these games can be enjoyed by multiple players with just one cartridge. The bottom text states, "Now on sale," and includes the D3 Publisher's website address. The next page is an advertisement for the Nintendo Game Seminar 2003, inviting applications from prospective students. The advertisement features sketches of Bowser and Mario, along with handwritten notes and mathematical equations, creating a notebook-like aesthetic. The seminar details include the period, June 2003 to March 2004. Location, Nintendo Tokyo office in Kandasudacho, Kyodaku, and content, game planning, programming, design, sound, and Game Boy Advance software development. Application requirements state the period is March 10th to May 15th, 2003, and that it is for students residing in the Tokyo metropolitan area. There are approximately 30 places available, and tuition is free. Applications are submitted through the Nintendo website, and inquiries can be made via email at seminar2003@nintendo.co.jp. The Nintendo website address is provided as http://www.nintendo.co.jp/